Well, good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress, and man, we are going on the hunt tonight. We're going to be talking about the LBL a little bit tonight. We got some things to discuss, big time, about things that lurk around in the shadows at night out there, and I've got my resident, I want to say expert. I know people don't like that word expert in the cryptid community, but I've got someone who lives the LBL tonight in the studio. We've got Mark Machek here with us tonight, and it's always a great time whenever Mark's here. And we're going to be getting into some of the local cryptids up there and some reports that we've gotten out of the LBL that involve not just Dogman and Bigfoot, but reptilians. Okay, so this is going to be really wild tonight. And also, we're going to get into a little bit of this Dogman phenomenon and the ties, potential ties, alleged ties to our government as well, with a little bit of intel we got on that tonight for you guys. So y'all, this is going to be a really great show. I hope you guys are ready to go. And man, we've had a wonderful week. I hope you guys have enjoyed all the shows this week. I know I have. And so if y'all would like to check out all my archives of all my shows and everything, please go over to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. And you can find my calendar of events over there. I will be making some public appearances and giving some presentations at I have two UFO conferences. Then I also have the Super Soldier Activation Conference coming up next month. And that's going to be down in Orlando, Florida. So if you guys are down in the Florida area, you want to go to that, please meet me down there. It's going to be a great time. We've got some wonderful speakers from all over the world, actually, who have been involved in some of these Super Soldier programs. And of course, I've done a lot of remote viewing that surprisingly, some of the data before I even knew about the Super Soldier program, I was picking that up in my data for some of these targets, some of those targets that Barry was giving me and other targets. So I'm going to be giving a presentation on some of that off-world humans living on other planets and stuff like that. So y'all come see me at that. And also I will be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival. Put this on the calendar, y'all. November the 8th on a Saturday, I will be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival giving a presentation, maybe two presentations. I don't know. It's going to be wild and wacky and fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. That is the best small town Bigfoot festival in the South. I'm just going to say it. I love that place. So I am super excited. They've asked me to come back this year to speak at their festival. So, all right. Well, let's get to our show tonight because I mean, it's always a good time when Mark Machek is here, aka Cryptiville. So let's see here. So tonight we're going on the hunt with Kentucky resident and longtime Land Between the Lakes area hunter and cryptid field researcher Mark Machek. We're going to be discussing the alleged elimination of Dogman assets in the United States and reports of reptilian humanoid sightings at the Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. Please help me welcome to the show none other than Mark Machek. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Jessica. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course. We get in a lot of trouble whenever we get together, don't we? Seems like it.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
Well, we try to not really get into a lot of trouble, but it just seems to find us sometimes.
It does. Well, you and I we're on a search for the truth, right? On a quest.
Oh, yeah.
And because that's one thing that I really appreciate about you. You keep it real. You keep everything real.
I don't know any other way to be.
I know, right? Me neither. I don't know any other way to be either. So I appreciate that. And that's why I love bringing you on the show.
Well, I appreciate it. And thank you.
Well, of course. Well, anything new going on up there where you are out in them
I
woods?
haven't really heard too much, but that doesn't mean that there's not anything going on. There's
Yeah.
I know appears that there's an ensuing drought, and been going through a bit of a dry spell,
Oh,
um, entering the early phases of fall, whether that's drought induced or what, I'm not sure, but it is a little bit early
yeah. Hmm.
for leaves to start falling, but they are. So, um, and just want to mention real quick that I cannot see the comments, and I am not in the chat. Um, my I'm trying to uh,
You're trying to
limit
focus on the show tonight.
and limit resources that I have running on this computer
Hmm.
because of you know it's not in the best of health at the moment.
I
So
feel you.
just trying to push things along.
I feel you. When I'm live doing my shows, I'm always scared to open up extra tabs on my computer in case things just freeze. It happens. It happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I'm excited. Listen, I got the chat covered tonight. Okay, I'll pull up some of the comments as much as I can, and I want to say hey to Primal Cry. Hey Kelly, I actually had just dug through some emails to find an article that you had emailed me. This is so wild that you're here tonight. Thank you for being here, and we're going to talk about the article that you sent me a long time ago in regards to the Super Soldier program, where we were talking about the zombie bears. Okay, and so thank you for being here, Kelly. I appreciate you. And yeah, we've got a lot to discuss tonight, Mark. A lot. And I actually just brought you up. I asked you a question on Thursday night when you were in the chat, and I had Barry here, and we got in the discussion of. I guess he had sent me a link to a video that was like from I think it's Cryptids Canada. Cryptids Canada, that's right. And there was a story that he had sent me, and it was a link to, and I thought, man, it was so wild. It was like one of those stories that you hear about that's like, Bigfoot, Dogmen, and reptilians all together in one space. Okay. And one area. And I thought, man, there's no way that's real. There's no way. And it was at the Land Between the Lakes. And I ended up forwarding you that because I asked you a question. And I was like, what do you think? And you're like, there's no way.
oh
No
yeah.
way. And but I sent you that link after the show at some point. And I listened to the show again myself, and I wanted to get your opinion on that. And I guess we can get into kind of like the story of exactly what the report was tonight. But I want to ask your opinion. Like, what did you think about this? You've seen this video. I haven't really told the audience exactly what it is yet. Do you feel like this is something that could have happened with like 3 different types of cryptids in one place?
Well, I want to first state that you know, in hindsight, it's always easy to make a snap judgment on something,
Mm-hmm.
and you know,
It
you,
is.
you for all you ladies out there that have never experienced this in your life, you might want to get your calendar out and and mark it on the calendar that you observed a man admitting that he could be wrong.
That doesn't happen often. It doesn't.
So so in hindsight, I just want to clarify for everyone that when I made those statements in the chat the other night about this story being a podcaster pipe dream and all that good
Yeah.
stuff, so I just want to clarify that I had not heard the story. I was not aware of any of the information in the video, and in later coming into contact with the video, my opinion on it has changed, and
Wow.
and I admit that I was wrong to make those snap judgments on the story, and um, I'm not going to say I'm not. My mind has changed to the point that I'm not going to say that it's legit. I'm not going to say that it's fake, but I'm going to say that there is a possibility that it is legit, and the reason why is because of some of the information that is contained in that video.
Wow.
So, um, I know that a lot of people do not have experience with the LBL. I know that a lot of people that have been to the LBL have not experienced a lot of things that take place there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but um, the interesting factor with it is that if you go back and you look at the previous shows that I've done with you, um, there is an instance where I do talk about a little bit about my encounter with uh, a reptilian entity, and um, that took place not far from here.
Oh.
Also, with that, we know that there is a connection with these cryptid beings, with portals, portal use, and all of that. So those are some of the things that came into play with me deciding that the story could be legit, and
Wow.
that's basically why I have changed my opinion on it.
Oh. Okay. Well, my reaction was the same as your reaction when I first heard about it. And I'd seen the video, and then Barry asked me about it on air. He brought it up on Thursday night after we got done talking about that wild space potato that turned into a gremlin or something.
Invader Tater.
The invader tater. That's right. We got invader taters taking over the world, y'all. To go with those Vienna sausages that I posted on IG today, y'all. I saw y'all in the chat talking about that.
Mm,
I said Vienna, and oh, by the way, Larry Sharp did correct me. He said it's Wiener. Okay, Wiener sausages. So,
mm.
yes, thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. But anyways, yeah, it's we had just gotten done with that discussion, really, and we were kind of winding the show down on Thursday, and Barry brought that up. I'd had MK Davis on the show last Saturday, and so we were just kind of reminiscing on that and going over a few things. And he brought that video up, and I was like, I watched it and I started laughing. I was like, there's no way that was real. Like, I don't know about that. I've heard some stories of Dogman and Bigfoot working in tandem and stuff out there, and that's that it could happen. Okay, it can happen. But they threw in the story throws in the whole reptilian aspect, and actually the reptilians attacking the Bigfoots and the Dogmen out there, and not only attacking them, but having piles of bodies stacked up, and there being a portal involved. I was like,
Yeah.
that's kind of wild. But
Well, you think about it. Um, his, the LBL currently is experiencing a influx of or an increase in wild hog activity.
mhm,
Um, wild hogs. From what I have seen, uh, they 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 multiply, and they multiply fast,
yeah,
and they have eradicated a bunch of them. And the problem, I mean, look at Texas. They've been battling it in Texas for the forever,
mhm,
basically. And it seems like they're just not making any headway on eradicating those things. So,
hmm,
you know the thing with it is, you know when you hire a human to come in and remove those species, uh, you have all the inherent things that come along with utilizing a human to do that. People make mistakes. People, um, misjudge. They're only limited to their five senses on locating these things. Even if they have surveillance data that shows them where these things are, it you know, there are factors that come into play that makes it difficult to do that particular job. So I would say that it's possible that the powers that be may have enlisted the services of otherworldly, and I'm using that term loosely, entities to accomplish the goal of removing those species, meaning
Ooh,
the Bigfoot, Dogman. But along with that, that presents in itself more questions.
shoot, yeah, it does. Yeah, it
What are,
does.
what was the leverage or the grease, if you
Hmm.
will, to enact or enable that activity to take place? So,
Ooh, oh my
uh,
gosh. Whoa, my brain is like really working overtime thinking about this right now.
and then it
Oh
just
no.
presents a lot of questions,
Oh.
and it's very interesting. Now, according to the video, there wasn't really a, as we were talking before the show. I know there wasn't really a specific timeline as far as when the event took place, just that it did take place. So it's real hard to determine, what was going on during the time that 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 took place, and it makes it even more difficult to actually corroborate the story
Mhm.
because you don't have a timeline, and you don't have information that supports what was actually going on during the time.
Mm.
So it's very interesting. Um, but like I said, I'm not going to say that it is legit. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm just going to say that it's possible that it is legit.
Man. Okay, so when you told me, you said, "Well, I'm going back on what I said, and I do believe that it could be possibly could be a true story." I was taken aback by that, and I had to go back and listen to it again. Okay, I had to, and let me explain to the audience what this is. Okay, so this is from Cryptids Canada on YouTube. Shout out to them. It's a lady who narrates some stories. I think people write into her, and I am subscribed to her channel. Barry turned me on to her just recently, and I do enjoy that channel. Okay, so um, but someone had written into her, I guess, if I'm getting this right. I hope I'm saying this right. But someone had written into her, and this was posted 1 year ago, and I put the link in the chat tonight. Okay, so the link is in the chat. I can put it back in there in just a second. But but a fella named Cody, I think, had written into her, and or either Cody was either the one that wrote in or that was his friend's name. I can't remember. But they had written in. He said that he had a friend of his from high school. So one of his friends from when he was younger. They were still friends. They lived far away from each other at this point. They're both married now, and they went to go. He went to go visit his friend, and went to his house, and he was recounting about his friend was recounting like a time where he had gone hunting or gone camping. I think he had gone camping at the LBL,
Yeah.
and he said, "Well, I never told you exactly what happened to me. What really happened to me when I was out there." He said, "Do you remember when I went?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I remember." He's like, "Well, the only people that know are my parents and my wife. And now you're going to be the fourth person that knows what happened to me out there." He said, "I was camping. The first night was nothing happened. Everything was cool. He just went camping, set up his pup tent, and then the next night, the next day, all pretty much all hell broke loose, and his whole entire reality shifted." He said that he became aware of Bigfoot. He knows for a fact all this stuff is real now, but he said that he had taken a little trail out, and now LBL's got to be huge, right, Mark? Like, how big is the LBL?
It is 100. I think 184,000 acres.
Good Lord. That's a lot of land.
It
Well,
is.
he had found it's got to be big, very dense woods and all that. And so he said he had set up his tent, and everything was fine. The second night, he decided to take a trail, like a big game trail or something, or a small game trail that was off the beaten path. And he said that when he went down this trail, he encountered two piles of one pile of Bigfoot bodies, all different colors, different shades of hair, and then a pile of dogmen, dead, both dead Bigfoots and dead dogmen. And then above them were, like, standing over them were all these, like, 12 to 16-foot reptilians is what he said. And actually one of it's almost like the Bigfoots were under mind control or something. And so, because they grabbed one of the Bigfoots and bit its arm off or something, like they were eating these Bigfoots, and the Bigfoot just like kind of accepted its fate and like walked over, and it was like devouring it. It was weird. And so, like, you can understand like why I kind of giggled. I was like, there's no way that's real. There's no way that's real. And then the guy described like a portal behind them, like a portal, like there was something behind them that looked like a portal. And this guy was like freaking out when he was telling the story, according to his friend. And yeah, it's a wild story. Like I said, the link is in the chat right now. Okay. But man, Mark, I mean, I've had people on my shows before that have talked about seeing Bigfoots and dogmen together, working in tandem, or just like being in the same environment and stuff. I've never experienced it personally. Okay. But now we throw the reptilians and a portal into the mix. Okay. And I was just wondering, like, you know, because when I heard this, I'd forgotten about the portal part, and I was thinking like the reptilians came out of a cave or something, maybe, if this really happened. I don't know. I guess the portal. Do y'all have caves at the LBL?
There are a few, not a whole lot in the LBL. Seems to be that there's more on either side of it.
Okay. More on either side of the, like, outside of the property?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, I would assume that like the cryptids they don't know land boundaries. They're not surveyors. So they're going to walk throughout the entire area, you know, unless there's a fence up or something.
Well, I've seen what happens to fences that they encounter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have?
Oh yeah. Or do you know what a cattle gate is?
Yes. Yeah.
So
we have cows, actually.
Yeah, it's that heavy steel tube.
Yeah.
So there's a property that, and I've got a picture of it somewhere. It's on a old hard drive somewhere, where they had gone in and they put up a cattle gate across this entrance to a hunting lease, and there were no cattle on the property. And you know, at the time that I was traveling through that area frequently, I would look up that road routinely, because, you know, most everything that lives in the woods is going to take the path of least resistance. And, you know, I figured that, you know, looking up there, I might see something one day. Mm-hmm. So one day I went by, the gate was fine. The next day I went by, or the next time then I went by, that gate was bent into a V. I mean, it was like almost like a tree had fallen on it, but there had been no tree fall on it. So they pulled that gate out and replaced it with a new one, a heavier duty one. And interestingly, it was fine for about a month, because I started paying attention to it. It was fine for about a month. And then one day I went by, and because it was heavier duty, the V wasn't as pronounced, but it still had a V in it.
Was it it happened twice then?
Yeah.
It sounds like a Bigfoot karate chop. Is a Judy chop. Judy chop. Don't know what that is. Bigfoot did a Judy chop on it. That's wild. That's wild. I mean, and I mean, if it's a gate like going into like a trail or something, there's not going to be any trees that are going to fall flat onto it because there's no trees in the front of the trail in the back, like front of the back of the gate. If it's a gate you can walk through.
It was actually
it'd be to the side, like it would fall.
It was actually a road.
Okay.
Like a logging
Apparently.
road, and kind of interesting. I can't say that a Bigfoot did it, but I know that those gates are designed to keep cows in, and I know that they're not easy to bend like that because of the steel that they're made out of.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the way that they're constructed, so it's kind of interesting, especially with it not having any cattle on the property.
Yeah. Well, what kind of big game do they have on the property? I've seen bison and stuff in pictures. What's up with that? Are those bison? Was I seeing those right?
Well, the only bison near here are either on private farms, where you have a producer that's actually raising them,
Mm-hmm.
or if you go into the LBL, they do have two areas where they do have bison or buffalo, whatever you choose to call them.
Yeah. Buffalo. I usually call them buffalo.
They're not free ranging, so there's not really any chance. Well, there is always a slim chance that you might have one that would break out, but they're pretty good about keeping them contained. So they're not. It's not like they're free ranging around the lands outside of the LBL.
Mm-hmm. So a bison or buffalo wouldn't have made that dent in that fence like that gate.
Oh no.
There's no way.
Like I said, that property was nothing but woods. It did not have any farm animals on it at all, and no cattle, no bison, no nothing. And there is no known animal, woodland animal that could do that to that gate.
No woodland animal. Well, and it's just it's really super odd that it's two gates, same place, have been damaged like that the same exact way. So I don't know. Maybe it's in the territory of a Bigfoot. I'm not saying a Bigfoot did it or Dogman or anything. Who knows? But that is odd. It's very odd.
And I know that particular property. I know that there are Bigfoot in the area because I've seen them in the area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what other big game do you have out there other than buffaloes? You just got you have wild horses or anything out there? Or?
No. Probably the biggest wild game animal that's out there is going to be like a white-tailed deer. Every now and then, I mean, there have been some bears recently seen in the area, but they generally are just passing through, and that's probably going to be the two biggest animals.
Okay, we've got Barry Littleton in the chat right now. He said, "Very cool. I want to thank you both for listening to anything I said." You're silly. Barry, you're crazy. That's hilarious. Yes, I listen. I listen. Okay. We were that was a fun show Thursday night with Barry, by the way, with the Tater Invaders. Okay. But yeah, this conversation is inspired by that video that you showed me, Barry. Okay. Right now. And it was fascinating to Barry too, because Barry was like, he told me to Dave, and he was like, I feel like that was real. I feel like the story's real. Or this encounter, and it's almost like it's so out there. But knowing what you know, living out there at the LBL, near the LBL, and spending a lot of time out there, and me knowing what I know about how crazy this crypto world is, it's very possible that could be real. But where did all these bodies go and stuff? If there were piles of bodies out there, I don't know.
Well, that's an interesting thing to contemplate. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, like I said, when you remove the human factor, and let's just say, for example, that those reptilians were contracted to do that, you know, they could have took them back through the portal.
Oh
We don't
man,
know.
this is such a big rabbit hole. I really open up a big old can of worms here because, we go back to, let's talk about maybe briefly. I was tasked with Old Green Eyes out of Chickamauga, Georgia. It's a cryptid. It's been seen on a battlefield during the Civil War there. Sightings have lasted to present day. And this thing was seen eating the dead bodies of the soldiers out there. And some say it's a gugway. Some think it's a wolfman or a dogman. Others think that it's just some kind of like demonic entity or something. But it's an actual flesh and bone type of a creature. Well, when I was tasked with that remote viewing target, this is so weird. It actually said in my data, galactic body part trader. Galactic body part trader. Okay, now how random is that? I got this target. It's some like weird thing, an entity that eats dead bodies. It was seen picking up dead bodies during the Civil War. 30 plus thousand men died over a course of 3 days, or a lot of bodies. And so now we're fast forwarding to present day. Now that story, that encounter happened somewhere between I don't think it was the late 90s, but it was sometime between like the end of the 1990s up until like 2 years ago or a year ago. It was sometime in that time frame. That's 30 years, Mark. That's a long time, but it was sometime in between then. Okay. And now we're talking about, well, there's been this thing, this encounter. I don't say that like I believe everything I hear, and I don't say I don't believe everything I hear. Okay. But we have to kind of take these things into account as researchers. Maybe this story did come out of nowhere, but maybe it didn't. And if you start connecting some of these dots, and we've got the elements of like a portal, reptilians coming through a portal and piling up dead bodies and eating some of these dead bodies and eating some of these bodies. They weren't dead at first. And then we got this target that I did, that's a blind target where I'm getting like a galactic body part trader. And I thought that was so wacky and out there, but now it's like, well, now we got this story that has nothing to do with that, or
Well,
does it?
it's not too far out there, because I mean, if you look at humans, we're not. Hopefully, we're not at the galactic level with it, but we do the same thing from country to country. You know, um,
That's true. That's true. And that's another thing with the trafficking issue. Oh man, I hate going down this rabbit hole too, and it's really sad. But we have a horrible problem with people going missing out of our national parks. Okay, and if you look at, we'll come back to that, Don. Thank you so much for that. If you look at this map of the missing persons cluster, this is an old map. This is from 2012. But if you look at the missing persons clusters and stuff, I mean, a lot of people go missing. This is a very old map, like I said, y'all. Okay, but however, there's an epidemic of people going missing, not just in our national parks, just all over the place. And if there is some sort of, I mean, I'm not saying that this could be part of where these people are going, but it could be. I mean, it absolutely could be. They're getting, like I said, taken through a portal, eaten. And you had mentioned, what would the price be for, let's just say, some kind of faction of like reptilian race or something come in and disposing of the Bigfoots and the Dogmen out there? I know this conversation sounds out there, y'all, but it's not that wacky if you ask me. It's really not. But what would their payment be? Well, those bodies and maybe some missing hikers.
and then,
Apparently we're tasty. Yeah.
well, they I don't know this for a fact, but people that engage or have engaged in cannibalism in the past, they refer to human meat as long pork.
Ugh, I've heard that. Gross. I quit eating pork, by the way. I haven't had pork in like months. Well, I lie. I had bacon occasionally. Okay, but like buying pork and like cooking it now, like I just quit eating it. And McDonald's too. We don't eat McDonald's burgers anymore, y'all. But anyways,
Well,
anyways.
another thing to keep in mind with it too is, like you said, they could be being compensated with something that we would find um, not appealing. And the other thing that you have to consider is why the big push to have this eradication take place in the first place.
Gosh,
So
yeah.
that and I've done some research on that in the last bit, and you know it gets into some interesting territory. Um, as far as why, you know, I always ask this question: why, since the inception of television, have there always been so many zombie-related movies?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
So, in looking at that and asking that question, I've come into the understanding that there are actually many types of zombies. You
Yeah.
know, and I mentioned one to you the other day. It's called a white. It's not white as the color, but WIGHT
Yes.
is actually a type of zombie, which um, could be the 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 interpretation of this thing that people call pale crawlers. So, um, it's interesting to me that we have these large scale psyops that take place, and uh, they talk about different television shows like The Walking Dead and stuff like that. Um, not just being entertainment or conditioning, but actually training. There were so many different concepts and ideas that were put out during that series that basically it was classified as a training material.
Oh man.
And
Gosh,
one has
yes.
to question why.
Why
Why would they need to train us to, or train people to,
condition us, program us? That's what it is.
yeah,
That's what it is.
to be resilient against a zombie event?
Oh gosh. See, this is really okay. So this all kind of like melds into like the other shows that I've done and the other things that we've looked into, just like on Thursday night. We're talking about, gosh, this is just wild. We're talking about the invader taters, okay, and that was that. It's like a venom like creature thing. It's like, and I'm not saying it's alive, but it's some kind of like metallic, maybe like graphene oxide looking thing that looks like it's alive, and it's just sprouted out of this meteorite. And this guy is like taking samples of this thing, whether it's real or not. I don't know. My data was suggesting that it was real. Barry said no. So we were like, well, it all come out in the wash, okay, eventually, and we'll figure it. We'll know one day. But I mean, it could be like a mix between some of this is real and then some of it's like not so real, and it's like a narrative, and our collective consciousness is like making it way bigger than it is, and we're I don't say we're creating a monster, but might be, I don't know. But we've got this thing, and it's almost like Venom from the Marvel series, okay, and that's where it's like some kind of symbiote comes out of the sky on a meteor, is what my son told me, and it crash lands. A guy takes it in, and it needs a host body. Takes it in, like, we're all almost like a big human experiment right now. I mean, I was just watching something the other day where it's like humans are not classified as humans anymore. We're like the people who got the the ouchie ouchie, if you know what I mean. They've actually, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but it was showing that people who gotten that shot were like classified as a different type of human now, because it's almost like it's I don't want to say a cyborg or something. What is it, like a homo borgus or something? Like it had like Borg in it, like cyborg. Yeah, was in the name. So anyways, I don't know. We're just at a really strange time in history right now for mankind and robot kind, whatever we are.
Another thing to consider with that too is, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but there are videos out there that are showing that there are some of the celebrities and some of the people that are appearing on film and videos. They're changing, and their hand is actually what's the first thing that's changing, and their fingers are becoming long and spindly and looking more like claws than anything. And when dealing with that, you have to look at the factor that when you inject something into a person that is an mRNA type thing that has the potential to change your DNA. Granted, you don't have control over what it changes you to, but where it gets interesting is it changes you into whatever it is that mRNA is programmed to change you into.
Well, what was in that? What is everybody going to be turning into soon?
I don't know.
They got that. See, well, that's the kind of issue, though, right?
Yeah, and here's the other interesting thing. We talk about CRISPR gene editing, and stuff like that. That basically you can create anything. But who's to say that they haven't developed the technology to CRISPR edit somebody's genome or genes, without actually having physical contact with them through frequency or vibration or what have you. So they could change you on the fly.
Yeah, well, that is real exciting for us humans down here trying to figure out what the heck's going on, and then all of a sudden, we're not all human anymore, and this is kind of wild. It's a little concerning for me too.
Oh yeah.
And Gene, I saw that too. A woman, I don't know about the woman on a podcast, but I've seen Katy Perry do it. Okay, and where her throat like puffs up, and it's very reptile like. Okay, very reptile like, and it's a little odd. I wanted to bring this comment up tonight too, because this is really interesting. In 2017, this is from Barry Littleton. He says that's what the whistleblower named CG told Barry upon him mentioning them about Dogman. He said the Dogmen are intergalactic body part traders. That's weird, because that's what my remote viewing data said old Green Eyes was an intergalactic body part trader. So, and you guys can go back and watch that show. It's in my playlist. So what are the odds of that? I don't know this. I didn't know about this. They didn't know, this was something in my data. Like that is something that's very random to be in remote viewing data. And then it's linked to other Dogman reports. Okay. So, just really weird. It's food for thought, as Barry says. It's food for thought. Just tuck it away, y'all. Okay. So I'm not saying that this applies to a lot of what's going on out there, but it could. It's just there's no coincidences. Okay, there's just not, and maybe it has something to do with what's going on in the LBL. If this story is true, and that gentleman did encounter, what did he say, 12-foot reptilians, or are they bigger than that?
I think he said they were like 15 foot
15.
tall.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's like 15-foot tall reptilians. He said, and the way he described them was they looked like velociraptors. He said they had the heads of velociraptors, and they had claws like velociraptors would have had. But they had, did he say they had like humanoid bodies kind of, but like velociraptor heads?
But but he said that their scales on their bodies were looked like
Armor.
armor.
Yeah, man, it's weird. It's really weird. But also it's not. I mean, it's making more sense now that this could be true. It could be true. So I could not imagine. I mean, anything that's 15 feet tall, you don't really stand a chance against. We're like appetizers for something that big.
Oh yeah.
Humans.
Well, think about it. Think about this. If you want a reference for 15 feet tall,
Yeah.
the next time you're behind an 18-wheeler pulling a box trailer, from the ground to the top of the back of that trailer is 15 foot tall.
Good
That's
grief.
how tall 15 feet is.
Okay, that's really tall.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Midwest Night Watchers, hey Gerald, and thank you for gifting those memberships. I was about to thank you for that. Thank you so much. He said a woman's blood type was just reported as a no match to any blood type on Earth. What? What? That means that she's not from Earth, then maybe, or does that mean that her blood has been modified in some way? I mean, that's interesting. I think we're going to be seeing more and more of that here in the near future. I want to take a quick commercial break because Deb D, thank you so much for gifting that Cryptid Hunters membership. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world to me. And also Gerald and Jane at Midwest Night Watchers, thank y'all so much for gifting the 5 Cryptid Hunters memberships. I appreciate that. That really means a lot to me. Thank y'all so much for all your support. Yeah, let's go back to this. I did put a star on this because Don had mentioned, he said Martin Groves and Daryl Denton had seen a portal with a spider-like creature across the gravel road at the Devil's Backbone Ridge in 2022. Now, that's in the Land Between the Lakes? That's wild. So maybe something coming out of a portal. Now, are portals reported at the LBL? Have you heard of people talk about them before? Seeing one?
I've heard of people talking about them.
Yeah.
I have only experienced one myself once.
Yeah.
And my immediate reaction to that event was, it's time to get out of here.
It's time to get out of here. Yeah, I think that would be my response as well, probably at this point. Because you don't know. I mean, we've had this conversation actually about like the people using the musical instruments out there and like hitting those frequencies and those tones and like having the possibility of creatures coming out of portals and then those portals not closing down. So we have had a conversation before. I almost forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, that's just the nature of it. Is you may be able to open one by that means, but how do you close it? So those are always things to keep in mind. And then the other thing to consider with that is, what's going to come through that thing, or
out,
or what's going to go into it. I mean, it just gets very, very complicated real quick.
It does. It does. Well, now to complicate things further at the LBL, now we have reptilians that they're 15 feet tall and that eat dogmen and Bigfoot. I mean, it's kind of crazy to wrap your head around that, even being real. And it's terrifying. I mean, I had an incident where I was out in the woods down here in the South at an undisclosed location, and I was hiking, had my son with me actually, as we were with my team, but he and I had gone on a little hike away from base camp. And we were on actually like a road. Like we weren't even off the cut, like off the trail. We were on a road, and we heard what sounded like what I would think a velociraptor would sound like. And we both froze, and I looked back. My son had taken off running. He ran back to base camp as fast as he could, and I just stood there waiting for something to come out. And I was kind of frozen a little bit, but not frozen where I couldn't move. But I was just like, trying to figure out where it was coming from. It kind of echoed all over the place actually, and I never saw anything. thank goodness. And my son made it back safe to base camp. We were fine. Okay, but I still don't know what that was. And it's terrifying to think that could have been an actual reptilian. Could have been.
Could have been.
Could have been. You never know. It was good that it stayed hidden. This actually not too far where I was not far from where the Georgia raptor sighting was. Okay, down in middle Georgia. So, yeah, go figure. There are dinosaur sightings, and they say dinosaur. What if those aren't actual dinosaurs? What if they're like reptilians that people are seeing? Especially since this gentleman described it as looking like a velociraptor, but with a humanoid body. So
it's very, very interesting and concerning.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, you also had brought up the good, we're talking about the idea of like, who do they work for? Who sent you? Okay. And that's always my question. Who sent you? And why are you here? And we do know, maybe it's kind of a good way to like bridge into the next thing I wanted to talk about tonight, were these dogmen potentially being eliminated. And I'm not talking about all the dogmen of the world, all these dog-headed creatures. I'm talking about some that are in programs. Okay. I'm not going to say government, but some sort of agencies. And we have talked extensively in the past. It's been a while, but I've talked extensively. I've done some remote viewing on the dogman breeding programs and see if those are real. And I do believe there's some sort of programs going on. And I have a buddy who has some pretty good intel occasionally. And I talk to him pretty often. And I started asking him some questions recently about the dogman. I was like, hey, have you seen a dogman lately? And I was told, he said, no, they've all been exterminated. That's what he told me. And I was shocked. I was like, what? Exterminated? I was like, you gotta tell me more. Like, what do you mean they've been exterminated? And I was told, now this is what I was told, that these are only the ones that are in a program. Now, I don't know if this program pertains. I can't ask too many questions. Okay. But it's all vague. Okay. But it's, from what I could take out of the conversation I had with him, it seems as though there's some kind of program going on. It could be I'm not going to say it's the dogman breeding program. I think there's some kind of program where I'm going to say government, but I don't know, some kind of agency potentially. And I was actually told, whatever program this is, where there are the dogmen being trained, being utilized by factions, maybe of our government, I don't know, maybe military, who knows. But they're on like next level of like generations of them having these programs. They've been around for a long time. This is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you. See, dude. This is for entertainment purposes only. This may or may not even be real. Don't take it from me, y'all. But Mark, what do you think? I've got more information on it. Okay, but what do you think so far? Like, being from the LBL area, living there, we've talked about the possibility of there being like government programs where they're utilizing these dogmen. Could that be going on at the LBL?
Well, when you look at the concept, I mean, it's possible that it could be going on anywhere, but the thing with that is, you have to look at the past activity, meaning there is a history of wild release of different species in the area, like red wolves, for example, different types of deer, fallow deer, stuff like that, things that are not native to America, that are actually there, that are actually free ranging, and it could be that there may have been some released, or maybe some were released or put into the area to test response. Uh, see what they'll do, kind of thing. And uh, I can't say that that's 100% what happens there, but it is interesting that you have so many reports that come out of there, and have come out of there, historically, uh, that people are encountering these things.
Yeah. Well, uh, Primal Cry says she saw a dogman last week while in the garden. That's normal. Yes, they have dogmen on their around their property out there where she lives. So that's pretty wild and kind of awesome too. And Max Life says yes, dogmen were hunted to the brink of extinction. They're very dumb, not intelligent like shapeshifters, like werewolves. Uh, I've they got to be a little smart if they're able to evade detection by us humans. I think, but nonetheless, from what I was told, okay, is that there was a like a control group that was like I guess they were letting out like control groups out of these programs, and this is something that I was told, and there were actual control. And I know there's probably other people that have said this before. I'm probably not. It's no breaking news. Okay. But I'm just going to let you know that I did get some confirmation from a friend of mine that was like, they put out control groups of these dog men and women probably. And I guess they were just letting them roam and tracking them and monitoring them, seeing them, what they did and like where they went. And I was told the first thing they did was they started attacking humans. But they were actually bred to do that. But they were let loose to see if they would do that, and they did. And so it makes that kind of confirms what I've always said is like national parks where all these missing people are going, Mark. It's like a little petri dish right there. And I've always been suspicious of like, well, is this where if our government is fully aware of like dogmen and Bigfoot being in our national parks, especially the land between the lakes, places like that. That's why we have all these clusters of missing people. I'm not saying this is exactly why, where they're all going, but it would make sense that like, it's almost like they have put a control group out to see what's going to happen. And it's almost like the experiment is like hikers and people that are camping out in the middle of nowhere in these national parks. This is for entertainment purposes only. Again, let me reiterate, y'all. What do you think about that?
Well, I've got my opinion on it, and that is that is a very, in my opinion, sick, demented, and not to mention that it's about as un-American as you can get, that people would do such a thing to turn something like that loose on a populace, whether it's Americans or otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
just to see what they'll do. They know what they'll do when they have them in captivity. Because I'm sure, like, for example, if you look at the scene in the movie, and this is I know it's fictional, but you have the scene in the Jurassic movies where they have those velociraptors in captivity in the cage, you know,
Yes.
and the guy falls in, and the raptors are around him, and when they get out and they're like talking, he asks them, "Did you ever wonder why? Did you ever wonder why there was a job opening here? Is because the last guy didn't make it." So
Oh
they
gosh.
know what these things will do,
Yep.
and I know, and I get it, that there's that curiosity that you want to see what the full extent of the capability is. I get that and I understand that, but at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning of my statement, it's very sick and demented that they would do that to any population, much less Americans, if that is in fact what has taken place. Now, I
Yeah.
get it. You may have You may have rogues, you may have escapees, and all that good stuff. I get that. But to intentionally turn them loose to see what they're going to do, and knowing that they've been bred to attack and kill humans, that, in my opinion, is a no-go.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, I was told that the program had shut down. Okay. And that's
yeah,
where we get into Primal Cry, who's in the chat tonight. Kelly is she sent me a while back when we were discussing, after we had discussed the unfortunate deaths of two people that were in East Tennessee. And I had done some remote viewing on those attacks, what had happened to both of them. And I came up, my data was suggesting it was some large animal that looked kind of like a bear, but it wasn't quite a bear. And so she sent me, and we were told that what happened to those two individuals was they were attacked by packs of wild dogs. And so that's not what my data suggested, but however, it's just data. Okay. But at the same time, she sent me this article, which I was referring to earlier tonight when I saw Primal Cry in here. And it was from Israeli news, and they were talking about how they were someone had gone before Congress, one of the agencies, and was asking for a budget change. Like they needed money to shut the program down and to eliminate their assets. And it was a super soldier program. And it had something to do with combining humans with dogs, bears, and wolves. Okay. And it was a little bit of soft disclosure, I think, it leaked out there for the public, basically. And I think maybe, just maybe, that could have been part of this program. And I don't think these programs actually completely ever shut down. I think they just evolve potentially. Maybe there's a different program now. But that one particular program seemed to have shut down. Now, this was only 2 years ago, Mark. It was 2 years ago. And there's been plenty of Dogman sightings since, but these are supposed to be, I was told that the Dogmen were all eliminated out of these programs. They were taken out, basically. And see, here's the thing, like they had started to make their way into the cities. And they were kind of showing pack behavior and stuff. And so they're going into the big cities, and there are plenty of accounts and stories about seeing dogmen in big cities. I mean, Missouri, St. Louis is one of the places I've heard of them being there. Atlanta. I have a friend of mine in the chat right now who is planning on coming on the show sometime to talk about his dogman encounter in downtown Atlanta.
wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, if you'll come on the show sometime, I got to get him on. But yeah, I mean, it's not just out in the woods, y'all. It's not out in the woods in these national parks. We're talking about the cities, which is kind of dark.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. And one thing that comes to mind is, I've heard that there is a location in the area of Nashville that has some suspected dogman activity. So, yeah, that it makes sense that they would. I mean, my question would be, why would they be moving into the cities? When they have, livestock and stuff like that to predate on.
Yeah, good question. Because they were trained to go after humans, too. So it is kind of sick. I remember having Nick Sylvester on my show a while back, and he talked about dogmen. He's a leader in the truther community, really, and he knows a lot about cryptids and some of these secret programs. And he works with like Space Force stuff, I think, but he knows a lot about dogmen, and so I recall him saying that a lot of these programs were shut down after a certain administration took over. Okay, and I do recall when we were talking about those programs that were being shut down, somehow the Clintons came up. like our former president and his wife, let's just say, and there was some kind of connection to where somewhere I learned that she was actually involved in those programs as well when it came to some of the let's see, there's it's not just a flesh and bone aspect here. We're talking about spiritual aspect to this, and we're talking about the dark magic. Okay, like dark magic was actually a factor in some of these programs as well. Not just Dogman, but I guess we're talking about werewolves and stuff too. So I don't know. Don't come at me. I am not going to harm myself, y'all. If you know what I mean. I love my life, but anyways.
That's interesting, and further complicates things because there is that whole there always seems to be a tie to the darkness.
There is. Seems like it. Yeah. I want to address this real quick. My friend Veronica is in the chat. Hey, Veronica, it's so good to see you in here. I was part of the Dogman Wolf Super Soldier program in Montauk. Yes, it's real people. She was in the U.S. Army. And I know Veronica. Yes. Veronica, I need you to come on the show sometime. I will hit you up after the show, either today or tomorrow, okay? And let's schedule you on because that's fascinating, actually. And yes, she was a member of the military as well. And so, yeah, and she's actually talking about Montauk. I do bring some of the Montauk survivors on my show occasionally, and we've had James Rink on, and we've had Daryl James on the show, and Arkeem Ra, of course. But Daryl's talked extensively about the reptilian experiences that he had while serving in the U.S. Navy, of all things. So it's a little alarming to the normies, especially.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little. But yeah, you gotta wonder. Thank you, Veronica. Yes. You just gotta wonder, like, why? Okay, you're talking about this zombie apocalypse potential that we have here, and that's something that we have been. Even the CDC had that zombie apocalypse protocol. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
What was that about?
I think they even put out a handbook.
They did
on how to survive a zombie apocalypse. So, and I think it's interesting. And every time I hear this, if you look at the 28 days series of movies or whatever, the 28 whatever, or even I Am Legend. Those movies, the precursor to all of those movies was a cancer vaccine.
Oh.
They released a cancer vaccine, and then all of a sudden you had people that were turning into zombies. So I think it's interesting, and
no, I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible because, like, we see that there's almost like a stage has been set. Dare I say a stage? Okay, because this is very real. It's not like this is okay. We're talking about like Project Bluebeam coming up and all this stuff. Like, it just seems like the stage is being set for like something that's not good. Okay, why on earth do? I'm just theoretically speaking on like blurbing, saying things out loud. It's like, what about? I mean, why would our government of all people and organizations need a bunch of dogmen? Like, what would be the purpose other than weaponization and armies and stuff like that? Gosh, I know it's just a rabbit hole. This is like a huge rabbit hole because we got not only dogmen. I don't know if I sent you this, but there's like a link. I put it on my social media today of a gentleman in North Carolina who called 911.
Oh yeah.
And he, the big takeaway was like, he was on the phone with 911. He was like, look, I saw this man on the side of the road out here. It was near a battlefield, by the way, Civil War battlefield. Mm-hmm. He said, there's a man out here. I just passed him and he's covered in blood. He's bleeding from his head. And so he was trying to give the lady directions about where he was at. He said, maybe somebody needs to come check on this guy, I guess. And as he turned around, You could just hear a thump on his truck. You could hear it through the phone call.
Mhm.
And he just starts screaming. He goes, "That's not human. It's not human." He said, "It's not human," twice. And the lady's like, "What?" The dispatcher was like, "What's going on?" He goes, "It's in the bed of my truck." So
Yeah.
whatever this was, like, jumped in the bed of his truck, and people were assuming like maybe this was, it was either a pale crawler, something like a pale crawler, or maybe even like a ghost, like a residual ghost. But this thing was like flesh and bone, and it jumped in his truck, and you could hear it. And he said that he drove really fast, and it flung it off on the hood of his, like over the cab of his truck, and it landed in the road, and it ran into the woods. Okay, so we've got weird stuff out there right now, Mark.
Oh
It's
yeah.
all over the place. It's not just reptilians. It's not just Bigfoot and Dogmen. There's other things. And Nick Sylvester, going back to him, he came on the show talking about how there's 13 different cryptids that our government works with.
Well, that's the interesting thing about it is, you ask the question, why would they need them? The more interesting question is, why would they feel the need to eradicate them? And I think the answer to that, in my opinion, would be something along the lines of knowing that these things are part human or have a human element. They may be inclined to um, work with humans at some point to um, defend against whatever it is that's coming. Um,
Oh
so
God.
that's a factor to keep in mind. And
Oh
I
my
hope that
God.
music's not coming through.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just a little background music. It's not that. It's not that loud. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
So
is
wait,
it?
that's actually a real, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's not bad at all. Um, so that's an interesting way to look at it, because it's like, what if they're building an army to fight something else that's coming, to like
Yeah,
unify all the creatures of the night against something that's a threat from the outside of our planet? Is that what you're saying? That's
yeah.
wild. I never even thought about it like that. I'm always thinking like, well, maybe it's because they're about to take over the world and hurt us, like turn on the people. But that would be interesting too. Let's just go ahead and train all these pill crawlers in the caves, so when the aliens come and attack. Golly, I love my show, man. We go down. This is just wild. We go down so many rabbit holes.
Well, I mean, these are questions that need to be asked, and the reason why they need to be asked is because things have become complicated,
Shoot, yeah, they have.
and we just don't know what's going to come out next. And at the end of the day, the concerning part about it is, you know, why do they feel like they have the place to do such things? I mean, if you want to develop some kind of CRISPR edited creature that you want to use in battle or whatever, then um, you know test that in an environment where it's a known conflict or something along that lines. Why turn it loose on unsuspecting Americans?
Hmm.
Um, it's just it it, it, it makes it makes it um, complicated.
Yeah, it is complicated. I mean, it just sounds so wacky saying it out loud. You know what I mean? It's like all these forces, all these factions, but when it's coming out of my friend like Nick Sylvester, that's a pretty serious dude. Okay, my friends on the outside that are shall remain nameless, who talk to me, who may or may not have contracts with like government agencies and things like that. When it comes out of their mouths, when I'm talking to people like that, it's like, this is crazy, and it's also fascinating, and it's terrifying that stuff like this goes on, and there could be I mean, I'd like to think that like we're trying to go to like a higher timeline where like we don't have to worry about all this crazy mess, like wars and famines, and having to get ready for whatever's coming, alien invasions and stuff. Um, but then again, I mean, I just don't know anymore, Mark. I don't know. Um, I don't want to scare the audience. Let's put it that way.
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I don't want the audience. Y'all, I always say, don't live in fear. Okay, don't live in fear. Just be aware, though. Just be aware that we've got like government officials and contractors and stuff like saying like the stage is being set for something right now, and so let's just like I said, be aware of it. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's why there's like a lot of disclosure going on, especially with like the UFOs and the ETs and alien life right now. We're not getting a whole lot of disclosure on Bigfoot
No.
and Dogman. We're not getting any on Dogman at all. We are the disclosure on that, 100%. And my gosh, let me tell you, Bigfoot community, even within the Bigfoot, I can't even believe it. These days, I have seen more infighting and arguing amongst the Bigfoot community lately, with even like evidence and stuff. Like I've been dealing with it this week myself, as a matter of fact, just a little bit, and with all love and light. I'm seeing it though, and it's wild. Like nobody, I don't know if it's like there's people that are put in these communities to like confuse everybody, or like there's just genuinely like hatred amongst people and stuff. Like I don't know what's going on. Tensions are high right now.
Oh yeah. Well, you think about it, like I've mentioned several times, there seems to be an increase in overall general darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you watch the news, or even you don't even have to watch the news, you can get it on your Facebook feed.
Yes.
They'll the world seems to have lost its mind,
It feels like it.
and it just makes it uh, it makes it hard to navigate. What's really going on,
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that things are so muddled and so widespread. Um, so just makes it. I use the word interesting a lot,
Best way to describe it, I guess.
but I don't mean it in the oh, that's interesting kind of way. I mean it in a way like it's interesting how things are going, meaning like not necessarily in a good way. So
Well, I mean, I love Betty. Betty Todd's in the chat. What's up, Betty? It's my Alabama friend right there. One of my Alabama friends. She says, I'm not scared. I'm too old to be scared. Okay. Well, I don't have to worry about you. Okay, Betty. I'm not talking about you. She's awesome. But yeah, everything's still being covered up. It's so wild though. Like my question is like, where are we headed with all of this? If and how is it going to be all disclosed to the people? If something crazy does happen, I mean, that's going to like wipe out the mentality. Like the people are going to go nuts. If let's just say we have like even if it's a fake alien invasion, we have an alien invasion that happens, or just aliens land on Earth, and it's whether it's real or it's fake, who knows? And then all of a sudden we got like dogmen fighting the aliens and the reptilians, and and it's just like, what is that going to do to people? It's going to drive everybody crazy. Everybody's going to go absolutely mad. That's what we have to look. I can maybe handle some cryptids, okay, but the general public can't. Okay, so let's just hope this does not all come to a big head, a choreographed mess, or non-choreographed. I don't know.
oh yeah, it could potentially turn into a big mess.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate that?
Well, we start here at the Crypted Huntress channel, just talking about it, and maybe coming up with a game plan. I don't think we can ever have a game plan for something that crazy. Okay, but I tell my audience often, like, live in awareness, prepare for anything. Get your toilet paper, okay, just in case. But let's not, don't live in fear and don't sit around worrying about it. Just don't sit around worrying about it. We still have our everyday lives to live, and if nothing else, I hope that our shows are entertaining. Okay, and this is entertainment for everybody, but also it's to plant a seed as well that like there are things going on out there in this world that is beyond our comprehension, and just kind of be ready for it and know that these things are going on, and we're not just making this stuff up. Maybe that's the summary right there. These things are really going on out there, and in places like national parks. I don't want to not go to the national parks anymore because there's a threat of like reptilians being out there and stuff. But I mean, what do you say to that, Mark? Like to people who have families that want to go out to places like the Land Between the Lakes?
I would say that they just need to, be situationally aware and, keep their eye on everything going on. And I'm laughing because I hope that music is not coming through.
I can hear it just a little bit. It's not bad. It's not
Well,
bad.
I don't want you to get stricken.
Are y'all having a party over there? There must be a party. My neighbors like to party. Okay, but they're not partying tonight. They gave it one night off this week.
Yeah. So
it's finally Saturday and they're not partying for the first time. Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's not too bad. If it is, let me know and I will request that it be turned down.
Okay.
So
it's not too bad.
I could let me see here. I may adjust my settings, see if I can cancel it.
Yeah, I like this actually. Oh yeah, you can't hear it anymore. Margaret says we must keep our vibes high. Yes, definitely keep your vibes high. And when Clan Ken is in the chat, hey Ken, thank you for being here. Confusion, suspicion, and fear. Yes, I think a lot of this actually has been. Thank you, Bigfoot Dwarf. Yes, I think a lot of information, a lot of this stuff is put out to keep us confused. That's a good point, Ken, for sure. There's a lot of confusion, suspicion, fear, and Bigfoot beefs have been happening since the days of the Four Horsemen. Thank you, Bigfoot Dwarf. Yes, there are apparently still Bigfoot beefs to this day, and the more that I'm especially in the online communities, I see it way more now. Boots on the ground stuff, I didn't really see it too much. I was kind of in my own little world with my team out there. But yeah, it's a thing, and it's okay. We're all going to have our disagreements and stuff, but can't we just all get along? Just saying. Yes, and this is a good point too. Brandon says you never know what beings in the inner earth trouble they got into going on around the universe. That's something else too. Like that's why I was asking Mark earlier about like the caves, or there's like caves at the LBL and stuff. That report was of the person that saw the reptilians, potentially like a portal behind them, and then like a stack of dead bodies of Bigfoots and Dogman out there. And my question are like, what about the cave systems and stuff? I mean, because there's a whole world going underneath our feet, a whole other world down there. So I don't know. I think that's where the pale crawlers and the reptilians really are coming from, and maybe even UFOs. So yeah, I think Mark is going to turn the music down over there, but it's really not that loud. Okay, so let's see. I was going to see if you guys have any more questions while I got Mark doing his work over there. Okay, J. True Seeker says, I don't think the general public is ready to get eaten up by non-human aliens. I don't think any of us are ever ready for that. Okay, but it's happening apparently. But yeah, we are not. So that's why I say stock up on toilet paper. That'll protect you. I'm just kidding, y'all. But yeah, gosh, thank y'all so much all for being here tonight. Jean says, I agree, Bigfoot Dwarf. People scare me worse than anything. Yes, me too. I'm way more scared of people than I am of the cryptids, actually, sometimes. And that is why I protect myself when I go out in the field and when I leave the house every day. Okay, so, and you guys should too, if you were trained and you are ready to do that. I definitely would. And oh, there we go. Johnny knows what I'm talking about. Thank you, Johnny. Yes, if you guys see that comment right there, that's what I do. And yes, I know they are listening to my show tonight. Whoever they are probably listening to my show tonight. And shout out to they. I think they are always listening to my show, as a matter of fact, as what I've been told. And that's cool. That's cool. It's all for entertainment purposes only, though. And so that's why we can talk about whatever we want. And it's all just opinion and entertainment. So that's how we roll over here. And yeah, you have to stay positive. And yeah, you know what? That's another thing. Thank you, Beth, because we do need to worry about our children as well. And that's why I do what I do. Part of why I do what I do. I am a mom. And I have to consider what my son's life is going to be like in the future. And so, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, like I feel like a stage is potentially being set. And whatever really crazy stuff may not happen in our lifetimes, but it might happen in our kids' lifetimes or our grandchildren's lifetimes, you know. So let's just be aware, I guess. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you. Sorry about that. As soon as the sound garden kicked on, I was like, I have to. There's no way, because it was too loud.
It got to be too loud.
Yeah.
It wasn't too loud for me. I could hear it a little bit, but it wasn't that bad.
Well, I didn't want to see you doing this number with little John. Little John.
Oh, me dancing? You're talking about dancing?
Yeah.
Can't see me booty shaking from sitting down on my chair. Yeah. It is Saturday night, and we can party a little bit. We got to break up the dense information we're putting out tonight.
Oh yeah.
And, turn the dense into the dance.
Well,
the dance information.
I requested that it be turned down a little bit. And
well, that's okay. It's
the DJ was like, I'm fixing to turn it off.
Oh. Oh man, it's Saturday. They probably didn't know you were on a show doing a live show.
They knew, but they didn't think that it would be that big of a thing. But like I said, I definitely don't want you to be stricken.
Yeah, we're good.
Especially if I can have some influence on that.
Oh yeah. Well, going back to the zombie conversation that we were just having a while ago. I think that's very disturbing. And I also look at it in the aspect of like, let's just say The Walking Dead. Okay. Like you've discussed like some different movies, the 28 days later and 28 days, you know, that kind of stuff. And Legion, even, that's a good one. That's a good movie. But that's more like
Legion
that's more about demons.
That Legion is a different type of movie, but
it is. But it's kind of similar too, a little bit.
Yeah, but if you look at it, you know, from that aspect, you know, because like I said, there is a type of zombie that I've found out about that is the result of dark magic, and you know, with that, it involves demonic possession, I would assume, and you know, that comes into play with the whole thing.
Okay, well, we're being desensitized right now to a lot of stuff, and and that includes like the music industry, the fashion and art industry, with the demonic satanic agenda that's going on, that is being kind of integrated into a lot of those arenas, if you know what I mean. And I'd mentioned my son, you know, kids, we're talking about like things that are, my son is not influenced by music and stuff. Yes, he plays video games occasionally. Okay. And that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to say I shield him from all that music. He likes rock. He does not like the same kind of music I listen to. He listens to like rock and metal and stuff. I don't know where he gets that from, but anyways, that's what he listens to. And it's not, things he listens to isn't that bad. Okay. Um, but it is a lot of things are very influential over society, over our children, and they're being desensitized. I mentioned the video games. He plays, like Fortnite and stuff, and that's
Oh yeah.
I hate to bring this up because I never thought of this. When I was a kid, I used to get mad when people would say this. Were like, oh, even playing Duck Hunt, and stuff when I was a kid. It's like shooting at anything is like desensitizing you from like death. Okay, and these kids are playing, like Call of Duty and all these. You're in the military, and it's the kids are getting in these mindsets. Not just kids, it's adults too, of like shooting things. And I'm not going to say like simulate. I've shot guns in a simulator before at Paris Island, actually, um, the Marine boot camp. Okay, I got to go and spend like a week there. At one point, I was not in boot camp. I just went. It's part of my job, and I got to go into simulators and like go on like calls with the MPs and stuff to like domestic violence cases, and so it was wild. I ended up losing because I ended up shooting a guy in his head 3 times by accident. So thank God it was a simulator. Okay, but but anyways, it was very real. You know what I mean? It's also real, and but it's not real. It was not real, but it was like a real life situation, and it's almost like my point is like people are getting desensitized to unaliving. I'm going to say killing people if they are, let's say infected with a disease, infected with this zombie virus or whatever.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know me pretty good, and you know that I have a high set of moral standards that I tend to not just hold myself by, but other people as well. That is sometimes a fault because of the fact that you can't hold everybody to your own standard.
True.
Because everybody is different.
Very much.
However, because I operate on that high standard, just in general, I have contemplated the very scenario that you're talking about, and the question came about when I saw that episode of The Walking Dead where they basically unalived the zombie girl,
Mm-hmm.
the one
The
woman's
little
daughter.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is now, the question is, if a person is a zombie, at what point is it okay to unalive them? And that's a big moral question because we as people, it is not in our physiology, mindset, spiritual, karmic makeup to kill people.
Yeah.
We are not intended to do that. But I understand that there are circumstances that come up where that might be necessary. And the question is, at what point is it? I guess the question it becomes, if a person is a zombie and they're basically an undead person at that point, is it okay to unalive them? And after some deep introspection and contemplation, I arrived at the thing or the conclusion that they, when they're infected with that virus that turned them into that they are no longer human. And I don't know
Oh,
if you had a
oh
vaccine.
man. Oh God, I was about to say this goes back to the beginning of our show tonight, talking about how humans are not classified as humans who have gotten that the
Hmm.
jabby jab. Oh man,
So
golly, this is all I'm telling y'all. It's a big old setup, setting the stage here.
so the question
Wow,
becomes,
for entertainment purposes
even if that
only.
person was given a vaccine
Hmm.
that would allow them to reverse that zombification,
Yes.
would they still be the same person? At what point are they just uh, a non-person or non-human? And you know that becomes a very very difficult question. And you could always point it back to the survival aspect of it, where it's either you take them out or they're going to take you out. But you know, looking at it from a moral standpoint, um, if you know for 100% that what they're infected with is taking them past the point of becoming returning to human, is it acceptable to take them out?
Okay. Exactly. I was trying to find that video. Okay, I'm going to play this on my phone real quick. Okay. Court ruled that any medically or genetically modified people are property of corporations that made the modifications, and they are now referred to as not Homo sapiens. They are hold on. I can't see it because my thing's over the word. So they're not Homo sapiens. They are like Homo Borgus or something like that. Um, I don't know. I can't read my phone. I can't see it. But it's something. It's not Homo sapiens. It's something else now, and it sounds like a Borg.
Yeah.
Borg is in the word. Homo Borgus or something like that. What's up, Trebles? Thank you for being here with the Paranoia
So
Radio. Thank you.
so it becomes very interesting and very complicated for the simple fact that um, and you think about it from this standpoint as well.
There we go. Thank
Here
you,
we go.
Moondog. Yeah, thank you. Moondog put it up. Homo borgensis. Homo, Homo borgensis. I'm
Would you,
probably pronouncing that. I'm putting the wrong accent on the wrong syllable. Probably.
so
Okay.
so if you look at it from this standpoint, if you look at it from a biblical perspective, or
Yeah.
from the biblical narrative, you know the great deluge was the result of the bloodlines of the earth being modified in essence. And you know what just happened. We had like a kabillion people modify their DNA, and they're now the property or the result of what a corporation is determined they are.
That is
And you
horrible.
know
That's horrible, Mark. It's absolutely horrible because a lot of, people were not told this before they did that.
no.
This is not, yeah, ethics. Thank you, Margaret. The ethics. There's no, where do ethics come into play here? Because it seems like there's none with that. I mean, I'm sorry, but okay, so I personally did not get that thing, if you know what I mean. I did not get that. I did not get it. Okay. So I am still a Homo sapien. Okay. Whatever. Uh, but still, it's, if I had gotten it, I like to say I'm a sovereign being, okay, and I don't belong to anybody. Like how could a corporation say that these people belong to them now? I mean, is it like going back to like the venom thing? Do you know what I mean? Like the venom is there's been something that is inside you. Part of my data, by the way, for that space potato that's turning into a, it's a meteorite that's turning into like some board thing. It's part of my data. I heard a woman's voice say, "It's in me body. It's in my body." And it was like this British woman's voice that it's in my body. And I was like, man, I just feel like this is kind of, it kind of relates to what we're talking about here. And whatever that target is, whether it's fake or real or whatever, I don't know. But it's all some big setup. I don't know. But there's, maybe that's what it is. It's like venom. It's like something, it's like they're planning on taking over people's bodies like zombies, making them into zombies, basically.
Well, interestingly, there was a movie that came out here a while back, and it's the one where the cell phones were turning people into zombies through a frequency.
Yeah.
Did you see that one? I'm trying to remember the name of it.
No, but everything happens. Say nothing is a coincidence. Complete cellular surrender. How do we stop this? That's the question. We're kind of establishing that like this is what their plan is, but like how do we stop it? How do we stop it?
People don't want the answer to that question.
Yeah. I think some of us do. Maybe not here. Maybe we should go to Rumble and talk about that. We'll just do a live on Rumble, okay, one day, and we'll just put it all out there.
Well, I myself, I never enjoy the thought of getting the knock at the door.
Yeah, that's funny. FAP, that you caught me. You caught me. I don't usually say Vienna sausage either. It's I think Jess has a fake Southern accent, and I'm really British. It's funny you say that, because when I was in high school, I used to sing, and I did some singing competitions. And these people asked me one day, I was singing a song, and they were like, "Are you British?" They actually thought I was British with my big old thick Southern accent. So yeah. Anyways, I'll never forget that. Yeah, I mean, with a push of a button, this world could change. Everybody could just turn into, not everybody, but a lot of people could just turn into zombies potentially. Yay. Great.
No.
I hope that doesn't happen.
No.
I hope that doesn't happen, but it feels like we are being set up for something. There's something.
Oh, yeah.
The stage is being set for something. And hopefully there have been people that are stopping it. You know what I mean? And maybe it's us. I mean, I don't know. We do. I kind of like to put it out there that we do create our own realities, and we are able to manifest through our consciousness. Okay. And through the collective consciousness, we can manifest a better world. And I don't want a world full of zombies. Okay. I don't even like thinking about it. So maybe we shouldn't think about it.
Yeah. The problem is, you have so many things that we're being bombarded with on so many different levels. You got things in your food, you got things in the things you hear coming through the TV, coming through the music, coming through the air, coming through.
Yes.
You're just being bombarded.
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are. So what do we do? Just turn everything off? We can't just turn everything off, because this is like stuff that's coming out on a grand scale. Other than like taking little precautions, like turning our Wi-Fi off, stuff like that, right? I mean, it's not just affecting us too, it's affecting everyone. And imagine if the cryptids, like the Dogman, the Bigfoots, anything that have been in any kind of programs, this is all theoretical and all my opinion here. You have the cryptids, pale crawlers, whatever we got out there. If they're chipped, or if they have some kind of jabby jab themselves, they probably do. Let's just be real about it. And or something. In a flip of the switch, they could turn and become, cyborg robots. It's some evil person's bidding. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just thoughts, deep thoughts with Jessica and Mark. Deep thoughts. Yeah. Oh my
I'm trying to
God.
remember. Wasn't there a Saturday Night Live
There
skit?
was with Jack
Was
Handy.
It was called Deep Thoughts.
Deep thoughts. It is Saturday night, and we are
And we're live.
and we're live. I don't even know if I was ready for this conversation tonight. Because
Definitely interesting.
I mean, well, because there's so many facets to this, and I feel like we're kind of connecting some dots that I wish we weren't having to connect as well. So I don't know. I mean, I see a positive future. Okay, I really do. I see a positive future out there for all of us. But then again, there's a lot of ways things could go south as well, and so that's all. I do have a lot of deep thoughts all the time in my head.
Yeah.
I don't usually express them all out loud, especially not to the world like we're doing right now.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to keep your thoughts to
Yeah,
yourself.
especially my
Because
thoughts. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, I love that. Win Clan Ken. It's a tongue twister saying your name, Ken. I love it. He says God wins. Absolutely. Absolutely.
well,
But
that's the one of the bigger factors, in looking at all this stuff is, people ask the question, well, why won't they tell us about, have disclosure on aliens, Bigfoot, and UFOs and Dogman and all this stuff? And I've said this before, but I'm going to take that a little bit more in depth. It
okay.
forces them to answer questions that they don't want to answer. And those answers to those questions are that everything, and I'm not using that lightly, everything that we encounter in our life or lives has been put there to, in some way, keep us from realizing and accepting that. And I get it, you know, before I even say what I'm fixing to say, I get it when you look at the biblical narrative. I understand that there are things that have been changed, books removed, all that stuff. But everything points towards the suppression of the biblical narrative and the fact that the biblical narrative says that Jesus is the way. You look at it, why, before you go into some of these underground facilities, do you have to sign a waiver that, or an agreement that you will not use the name of Jesus or say the name Jesus when you're in those locations?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? So you have to look at it from the perspective of, you know, the the goals of the plan. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, why would they care if somebody believes in Jesus if it doesn't matter, if it's not real, or he's not real, or wasn't real, or whatever? Why would they care so much that
Mm-hmm.
they make you sign a piece of paper saying that you won't do that?
Because it's spiritual. That was even in my data for that target with that space potato thing. It said it's spiritual. It's
Hmm.
spiritual was in my data. Whatever's going on, this is spiritual. And I was actually told that by my friend who we were talking about the Dogman eliminations, eradication. He said it's very what's happening right now. What's going to be happening is very spiritual. It's got a big spiritual aspect to it, and that's 100%. I mean, yeah, to get into some of these bases, I think that Daryl James even was telling us. I think it was Daryl talking about the deep underground military bases They say you cannot say Jesus Christ when you go down there. You have to sign paperwork. You have to sign like NDAs saying that you're not going to say it. And also, look into like alien abductions and, even Bigfoot encounters. When people say his name, these encounters will stop. I mean, bad encounters, things like that. There's something to it, Mark.
Oh, I know there's something to it. So, we have to do some self-examination, not just and not just self-examination, but examination of the forces out there, the factors out there that are putting out information. We have to look at that really closely because what's the motivation?
Yeah, what is the motivation? What is the agenda? And why do we have a bunch of Satanists in the military and stuff with the golly and even with the I know we've got like Veronica's she was part of the Montauk programs and stuff too. She was actually in the U.S. Army, and some of those people that were involved in that. Arkeem's told us, what's the name of that Army general guy? I don't know if he's a general, but that guy with the eyebrows, Aquino, maybe.
Aquino.
Aquino, like what? I don't think he's a general by any means. I don't know what his rank was. I have no idea, but he's like the head of like the Church of Set or something like that, like factions of like satanic church, and you got to wonder like what are they doing in our military stuff. And I don't know. I want to say thank you to Nathan for money for my Wiener sausages. Thank you. That is very sweet. I can buy like 5 cans with that, and I do appreciate it. At least 5 cans.
I think you can buy a case with that.
A case. It depends. Depends on if I get it at the outlet mall, at the Overstock warehouse. I can probably get a whole case. Oh my gosh, I love that. But yeah, there's definitely a spiritual aspect with all of this, and we need to really connect with the higher power right now too. We always need to, of course, but now is more important than ever. It really is. Protect your energy, protect your spirit, and say your prayers, y'all. And just know that we're gonna be okay. I mean, I know inherently we're gonna be okay. I think we're gonna be okay. And this is coming from a girl who chases monsters for fun. Okay. I don't know. I try to stay on the good side, like the sunny side of stuff. Okay. Because it can get real dark, y'all. It can get real dark.
Oh yeah.
Protect the Huntress. Thank you, Troubles. You're funny. You're hilarious. Yes. I know how to protect myself too. Yes. And that's true. Veronica says, remember some regular civilians were also used in the secret space program. Yes, many of them were. And I saw Beth's comment as well. She was, Beth is in the chat. Beth Noyes said that I believe, I don't know if I can find that. I think I started talking about Tony Rodriguez. Yeah, she said, Tony also invoked the name of Jesus and got the ETs to stop messing with him at the end of his 20 and back. Yeah, I'd heard that before. I mean, I do recall him talking about that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I always like to have a solution, Mark. Like, okay, so we've got this crazy stuff going down. How do we stop it?
Well, and I'm going to defer to the biblical narrative once again. I don't think that it's our place to quote unquote stop it. I think that certain things are going to happen, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to fall onto the individual to determine what side they're on. Whether they're going to feed the dark side or be a part of the light side.
Yeah, it's the wolf you feed. That's right.
Most definitely.
Yeah. It is. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess, like I always say, you got to shine the light on the dark, and we got to think positive and get to a higher timeline. Okay, and so here's my takeaway too about my friend that was telling me about the Dogman program and the assets being eliminated. Those seem to be really bad assets because they were attacking humans. Okay, they were attacking humans. They were born and bred to eat. He said they were going for the flesh. He kept saying the flesh. And I was like, okay, so they were going for the flesh, is what he said. And so I'm just assuming that meant they were going to eat the humans. And yeah.
So that statement in itself leads me to believe that there were or could be ones that were not interested in that. Whether that mean that because you know
he said they were trained for it. That was part of their training. Hold on, I have my notes right here. Hold on. They were bred that way. Bred. That would imply a breeding program, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. So to me, that would indicate that there could be others that might be like those were only interested in eating people.
Oh,
You
that
could
was the
have
sample.
you
The
could have
control group. The control group is
you
what he
could
said.
have you could
Yeah.
have others that were interested in a person's blood as opposed to,
Oh.
and I've always been a strong proponent of this. So when you go into the woods, you can't hide from these things. They know that you're there.
Exactly.
And not only do they know that you're there, I would also suspect that they can tell what you had for breakfast 2 weeks ago on Tuesday
I can smell it on you.
because they can tell they can they can I think that their senses are so heightened that they can smell that on a person, and I
Yeah.
don't say that lightly because as we know, you have dogs, they can tell when there's something wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
and they can tell when there's something wrong with another dog as well, and it may not
Oh
be
yeah.
evident, something that's a condition that's exhibit you're you could have a condition that you're not exhibiting signs of, but they can tell. You know, they can tell. They've even come out in I think within the last 5 years that a dog they have actually trained dogs to tell whether or not a person has cancer.
Yeah. They can sniff it out, and they also, like when you said that, like they can tell if there's something else wrong with another dog too. My
Mhm.
grandparents used to take in dogs. All people would drop dogs off at their house. They ended up with like 9, 10, 12 dogs at one time, and it was wild. And I tell you, and this is a long, long time ago, but I remember one of the dogs got sick, and a couple of those dogs attacked it because it
Mm.
was weak and it was sick, and it was horrible. It was absolutely tragic and horrible. But it was a weak link. They sensed there was something wrong with it, and they attacked it. And
Mm.
and I hate it, but it's just that's the nature of the beast. Sometimes, you know what I mean. It's their innate nature to do that. I guess to try to take out like the weak links or whatever. I guess, but it's just sad. But it's just part of the dog's reality, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know, like pack mentality, and that's it's kind of crazy because that's another thing that my friend was telling me. He was like, they observed that they had they like mentality, I guess you call it, um, pack behavior, pack behavior. So, and that kind of answers my question as to like, are dogmen like roaming around by themselves? A lot of times people just see one. They, from what they observe, they stay in packs.
Well, the thing about it is, you may only see one,
Yeah, they're all
but
hiding.
but
Yeah,
you're not going to see the rest of the pack necessarily. And you get the same
yeah,
thing with and this is something that you don't really hear a lot of people talk about anymore. You know, you may hear people say that Bigfoot never traveled alone, but they don't really go into a lot of detail on that. But that was a big thing back in the day. That you may see a Bigfoot, and he's not necessarily the one you need to watch out for. It's the ones that you can't see.
Yes, exactly. It's the ones you can't see. They're gonna get you. They could. That was like that night that I saw that thing on the side of the road. There was at least two of them, but I'm sure there was probably more somewhere. And I'm referring to what I believe I saw a Dogman out in Alabama on the road. And there's another one with his back turned to me. Still confused about what I was looking at there, but whenever there's one, we're fully aware of that when we're out in the field doing the bigfooting and stuff. If there's one, there's a whole bunch of them. If one makes any noise, there's a whole pack around.
Oh
Usually.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why they say do not shoot one. Never shoot
Oh
one.
yeah.
Never. You're not gonna make it out of there probably. Yeah, and you can. I guess that's if you go back in like historical accounts of like people shooting at Bigfoots. Like look at the Ape Canyon attack. Like
Hmm.
that one. Those guys, I think they were gold miners, and they encountered some Bigfoots. And one of the guys shot one, and they were accosted. They survived. All the men survived, but they're pretty beat up the next day.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to be the trend. Historically, usually if you take a shot at one, usually you end up not you're not you're not going to have a good ending.
Mm-mm. No, Bob used to always tell me that. Grumpy would always say, just never shoot one. He's like, I don't care what happens. If you have only if you are within a millisecond of getting attacked, or whatever. He's like, just try not to, trying to ever shoot at one. And so, yeah, so far I've had nothing but good encounters, good experiences out there. They may not always be not scary. I've had
Oh
some
yeah.
weird stuff, but still at the same time, I'm still here, and I still go back as much as I can out in the woods. Nothing can stop me. I'm still out there a lot, but I don't know. I mean, you live not too far from the LBL, and
Yep. I
did
could
you?
be
Yeah,
I could get in my truck, and I could be in the LBL in less than 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Man, that's
Yeah.
really close. That's really close. That's actually quite a blessing, man. That would be wonderful to be that close to a place like there. Just with the lake. Do you ever go fishing out there and stuff? Do people go
Yeah.
fishing?
Yeah.
Yeah. People ride boats out there and stuff.
Yeah,
Go skiing.
they got boats, everything from a little John boat up to a big 40-foot cigarette boat.
Really?
Hmm.
So I mean, it's a big old lake. Yeah.
Yeah, both of the lakes are pretty big.
Hmm. Yeah. Somebody in the chat at the beginning of the show tonight, somebody had asked. I don't remember who asked. I'm so sorry, y'all. Somebody had asked and said, "I wonder what the LBL was like, or like what that was like. The lake was like before it got flooded. What was out there before it got flooded? It was communities, and what was going on out
Yeah.
there?
So the Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake, um, they actually weren't lakes back in the day. They they were rivers. So and those rivers, from my understanding, weren't exceptionally wide. I don't know exactly how wide they were. I do have some old maps,
Hmm.
pre flooding of the area maps, but I haven't actually looked to see how wide they were. Um, but they weren't on the grand scale. They weren't that wide, and it was the I know one of them is. I'm trying to try to remember. One of them is the my mind just went blank. I can't remember the name of the Cumberland River is
Hmm.
one of them, and then I, maybe that's not right. I
Hmm.
can't remember, but nonetheless, there were rivers instead of the lakes, and when they dammed them up and they flooded the areas, a lot of those old communities were flooded, kind of like similar
To Lake
to the
Lanier,
Lake Lanier.
the haunted lake in Georgia. That's the
I've heard some
consistency of Jello. It's so
I've heard
gross.
I've heard some pretty interesting stories come from Lake Lanier.
You probably for me.
Well, no,
I don't
these
know.
actually came from, you know, testimonies of people that actually, you know, were in the water and potentially were going to drown and were actually rescued out of the water
By an unseen force.
by unseen forces,
Yeah.
unseen people. Some even suspect that it could have been mermaids.
Mermen, mermaids. That's interesting. Man, did I tell you? Did I tell you about me taking a tumble down the stairs a couple weeks ago, and I
Yeah,
had arms holding me up
yeah,
the whole way down? It was like it was not my time to go that day.
yeah.
Yeah,
That would have been a bad day.
it was. Yeah, it could have been. Could have been. Instead, I was just left perplexed for the rest of the day, trying to figure out what happened. Yeah, and happy
Well,
to be alive.
it's just a good thing that you had. I'm going to call it intervention
I did.
that kept that from happening.
100%. 100. Absolutely. Those were
You
my
gotta
angels, man. It was,
you got to keep them root throwers away from you. Kind of throw them roots on you.
man, it's been rough lately. I don't know what's going on with that, man. I got a lot of people mad at me, I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
We'll see. Well, thank
you'll be
goodness.
all right.
Praise God. Thank you, Ona. That's right. Yes, I have. I'll be just fine. I've obviously. It's only God. Okay, that's the only way I can describe it. That's the only explanation I have. Is those are my angels. Carry me. I literally felt arms lifting me up as I was falling. And yeah, it would have been could have been fatal. It was
Oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, I know this has a little bit to do with this. When I was a kid, my mom, I still remember this. I couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 years old. It's probably three. And we went to a West Georgia college football game. I think it was like a football game at a stadium. And I fell from the top of the stadium all the way down to the bottom on the bleachers.
Wow.
And I don't know how I remember this, but I remember falling down. It was one of my earliest memories was actually falling down the bleachers when I was a kid, and I was knocking people's drinks over the whole way down and stuff. And
Wow.
like, I don't know why nobody stopped me. Like, come on, just grab. There's a kid coming. Somebody grab her. So
That's
I am used
wild.
to. I guess I was used to falling. I don't know. I was okay. I just
I
remember being embarrassed when that happened. But
the only time that I
yeah.
remember ever falling was when when we lived in a mountain state. I'm not going to say exactly where, but we lived in a mountain state at one point, and my mom had a cactus garden, and it was like an 8 by 10 area, and it was full of cactuses, every kind of cactus you can imagine. And I was out there, she was out there messing around in her cactus garden, and I walked out there to ask her something, and I tripped on one of those rocks, and I fell face first into that cactus garden,
Oh my God.
and I had cactus stickers
Oh my God.
head to toe, and she sat there and plucked every one of them out of me
Oh my gosh.
because I couldn't do anything. I don't even know how long it took her to do that, but that
Oh my God.
that was, I mean, it hurt more coming out than it uh, than it did going in, I guess. Um, yeah, I would say that the maps that I have, they are probably not topographical. They are more uh, along the line of uh, pre-construction maps, um, and they're not. It's not for the whole area. It's just for portions of the dam area. So yeah, it's not really. They're not really topographical.
Oh man. If anyone's wondering why Mark and I both go out hunting monsters, because we're tough, because we took some hard knocks when we were kids. I think that's what it is, man. I've been tumbling around and falling, and that was just God putting me in those weird, or putting both of us in these life-threatening predicaments to toughen us up. That's what it was. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, you'd be shocked if you knew all the things I've experienced. Y'all would all be shocked. I'm surprised I'm here too. I'm surprised I should not be here right now. There have been several incidents in my life where I could have gone. I might have not survived. I might have just done like quantum jump. What was that Quantum Leap? That show?
Mm.
Quantum Leap. I've been quantum leaping my whole life. That's what it is. So, but yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I see so many people say they've fallen and people have gotten hurt, and yeah, it's very very dangerous, y'all. We gotta be careful. Pay attention. I need a bubble suit, bubble wrap myself. That
Yeah,
might
one
be
of
a
the
good
big
idea.
bubble
Or a
ball
helmet.
things that you
Yes,
have you seen those
yes,
where your only
yes,
your legs stick out and you run into each other,
yes,
you roll.
yes. I know, I know. I need a bubble suit and a helmet sometimes. Um, but I don't know. Where's the fun in that? So yeah. Well, Mark, this has been a pretty interesting conversation tonight. Interesting's the word of the night,
Oh yeah,
right?
it has been. It has been very interesting, and it's very interesting things to contemplate, even though we don't have
Very.
answers.
Right.
To a lot of questions, it is interesting. Um, yeah,
Jojo. I'm sorry, I'm laughing as Jojo said it doesn't hurt so bad when you've been drinking. Good point. Good point. That's hilarious. Yeah. Man, I mean, we've pretty much covered some very out there topics, but it's really not. Really not. It's out there. If like I like to say, the normies are tuning in and watching this right now, they would be laughing, giggling at the reptilians with the piles of dead bodies of Bigfoots and Dogmen. But you and I, we don't laugh about it because
no,
it's a possibility.
well, one thing I wanted to mention, um, back when we were talking about when you mentioned, the prospect of people being snatched into portals and all that good stuff. You know, I forget. I think the guy's name is Rob Riggs.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a book about the big thicket down in Texas, and the name of the book is In the Big Thicket.
Hmm.
And there's actually a case or a story that he relates in there where he was talking about um, a guy that had something try to grab him into a portal,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing he saw was like this big, huge, hairy arm and hand reach out and grab him, and he heard this voice that said, "Aha! I got you!" And he's trying to pull him in, and the only way he was able to get away from it was he came out of the jacket that he was in, and it basically took his jacket off into the portal, but he hauled tail out of there.
I am convinced. You cannot convince me otherwise. These portals are not being used. Can't convince me they're not being used by agencies of some sort of whatever, like to grab people and pull them in. I mean, I've had at least one or two people on my shows who have talked about being part of the secret space programs and these different programs like Project Pegasus, for instance. There's been very credible witness testimony out of all these. Okay. But talking about the portals, I've done remote viewing on these portals, but talking about how like they use some of these programs use like mirrors as portals and stuff, and mirrors in hotel rooms and things like that. And I mean, who's to say that they can't use a mirror at one of the, dare I say, Hilton hotel rooms or something? This is for entertainment purposes only, once again. But they say that a lot of those hotels are built on top of stargates. They have jump rooms in them. And who's to say they're not like using those mirrors to like go in there and just grab people? Actually, at one of the last conferences that I went to, I noticed that some of the participants there that I'm friends with were putting sheets and things over their mirrors in their hotel rooms. And I thought, man, maybe I should do that.
Yeah,
and I'm serious. Like maybe we all should.
I'm kind of particular about mirrors myself. I've heard some pretty scathing and concerning things about mirrors.
Well, we have been talking about some black magic and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And people, what did you call it? Roots, stuff like that.
Root throwers.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't put a lot of stock in that because they haven't been exposed to it. But I was raised down in Louisiana, so I know what's up.
That's right.
I was raised in the dirty South.
You're from the dirty South, just like me. But yeah, New Orleans, New Orleans, or just Louisiana. Let's just say Louisiana. Let's refer to Louisiana. You're not from New Orleans.
No.
But Louisiana, down on the bayou and stuff. Lots of voodoo, and that's where we get the stories of the wolf, the Rougarou, the Loup-garou, vampires as well. A lot of werewolves and vampires down there. Lot of magic. A lot of magic going on down there. I think that accounts for a lot of those werewolf reports. Maybe Dogman too. But yeah, I mean that plays a big role too, and I think it plays a big role even in some of these. I hate to say that, but in some of these parks, like the LBL, there can be a dark energy out there, from what I've been told, and probably people going out there and doing rituals and stuff, conjuring stuff.
What's interesting about it is I've actually been to places over there where one day it's fine, and then the other day you just get like this ominous dark feeling, and it's weird. It's like it's moving around.
Oh, it is? Feels like it's moving around? Like the energy? Ooh. That's wild. What is this?
Very interesting and weird.
Free money. Uh-oh. Hold on. This is a bot. We're going to ban the bot. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I don't usually take the time to stop the show and ban a bot, but that guy wanted to give away free money in the chatters, and I don't know what that was. Sorry. There we go. That was a first. I hadn't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one of those in a while.
Did you see that?
No, I don't have the chat up.
That was weird. Oh, that's right. You didn't. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a bot, y'all. I'm sorry, but I just banned that person, whoever that was. So anyways, I know this is for the live audience tonight. If you're listening on podcast right now, you have to go back and watch the video. I don't know if they'll show up, but sorry, y'all. We had a bot. We have a live chat going right now. If you're wondering, if you're hearing my voice and not seeing my face right now.
Yeah. Tell them, get on out of here. We don't want your debt note.
Yeah. Get out of here. Get. Oh man. Yeah. Yes. Be aware of mirrors, y'all. I don't know. Like we were talking about mirrors just then. Just be aware. I've done a couple shows on like magic mirrors and stuff, but they're used for. It's kind of hard to understand. Like I said, we're not really talking to normies here, y'all. I know we're all kind of on the same frequency. If you're listening to this, we're on the same frequency right now. But mirrors can be used as portals, and people do use them for bad. Okay. And for like dark magic to spy on people, maybe. I don't know how that works, but like maybe astral traveling into people's houses and stuff. So just be here, be aware. I do cover my mirrors as well at night. I started doing that recently. I don't have a lot of mirrors in my house, but yeah, you can never be too cautious. And Bigfoot Dwarf says, Motel 6, they'll leave the light on for you. Yeah, it's actually safer to stay at a Motel 6 than at a Hilton. I'm just saying. Unless you want to get snatched up through that mirror at night. I don't know. Golly.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right? We're safe. Are we safe anywhere anymore?
No,
Maybe the Motel 6.
safety is a fallacy.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I like living in La La Land sometimes. I feel safe. I feel relatively safe most of the time. I really do. Well, I'm not scared of a whole lot, but yeah. Jay Trusiger says there are also star people who live in apartment high rises as well. Star people live all over the place, I think. And Nathan says the sun is a huge portal. It is a massive neutrino source, and 100 trillion of which go through each square inch. Neutrino fields form our reality, this dimension in ways. Sun is the local portal. That is so cool that you said that, because when Barry tasked me with Earth's weaponized natural portals, I immediately was on the sun. And all my data in the very beginning of the session was all in the sun. And it was really weird because it's supposed to be Earth's natural portals, but yet I was at the sun. So what does that tell you? It's kind of weird. But I think the sun is a portal. There's a connection to the sun and Earth through a portal. Okay, and that's something else that people were always trying to pull it out on me. Like, what was in that data for that moon landing? Mm-hmm. I got that proverbial knock at my door about, and all I could really say to the public was like, not that I can't say things to the public, but I mean, all the data is on my Patreon if anybody wants to go see it. But it's like, I don't know if that actual mission that you saw on the film was real, but they did go to the moon, but I don't think they got there the way we've been told. That's another big thing. I don't think they got there by a rocket ship. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to leave it at that when it comes to that. But you can see all that in my data if anybody ever wants to go look at it. So, yeah, we live in a really crazy world. Nothing is what we've been told. There are monsters out there, and cover your mirrors at night. Okay, and that sums up the whole show in a nutshell right there tonight. So I don't know what you think. What do you think, Mark? Anything else we need to talk about tonight?
I think we need to stay frosty, strapped, and dangerous.
Stay frosty, my friends. Yes, stay frosty. I always do. And I'm always locked and loaded. I am. Let's see. What's up, Eric? Good to see you here. Main House says, tell us more about the mirrors. I want to hear more about the mirrors. I don't know, Mark, do you know more about the mirrors? Is there anything else you could tell us about that before we go tonight?
The only thing that I can relate is, and this is something that I have mentioned. I don't think that you really got into it the way that I conveyed it to you, but I was someone shared a video with me, or asked me had I seen a video, and they were talking to me about this video. And basically what this person was doing, they were at the grocery store, right?
Okay.
And they got to noticing that this woman was walking around with her cell phone in her hand, and just pretty much like screen off. Let me turn it off. Screen off, just a black screen, right?
Yes.
And said that they were walking around and they were like hovering it over the meat in the meat department.
Oh.
And they got to noticing that there was something odd about the whole thing. And basically what they determined was that She was using her cell phone as a portal to implant demonic entities into the meat.
The food? Oh God. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Ew. That's horrible. Oh my God. People do that? I guess people,
Yeah.
I don't put anything past, no, I don't put nothing past
And,
nobody.
and here's the
That's
thing
horrible.
to think about. Here's the thing to think about with that.
What? Okay.
So let's say you're eating meat that you cooked that has a demonic entity attached to it.
Food that you cook, is that you eat? That's why we have to pray over our food. I mean, is that even going to help that? It is going to help it. I mean,
Yeah. So
okay.
here's the thing. So think about it like this. You know, a demonic entity, it wants to gain access to a person because it does not have, in most cases, it does not have a physical body to reside in. So when you eat it, that gives it that means of access to infiltrate your body.
Oh. Yikes. Okay.
So my recommendation is that you would pray, consider praying over your food more often because you just don't know. I mean, you did mention about it, about this concept when you were talking about these dolls and all these different other products that were
La boo boo.
and that were having demonic attachments put on them
Potentially. Yeah.
So
Annabelle.
Well, I think, what was the other one? It was some kind of drink. It was
Monster. Liquid Death or Liquid Death. And it was Liquid Death. They have a witch that goes into the warehouse and casts spells on all the water. Like, what? That's terrible. And then people are ingesting that. Yeah. Somebody did one of those. Oh.
Here's the thing that's dangerous about that. And a lot of people
sorry.
Got excited to knock something over.
No, it was my son. I just had to give him the stare. I was like, oh, what'd you do? He's right behind my computer.
So here's the thing that's dangerous about that. We often look at the supernatural and spiritual magic and that kind of thing. We look at that and we say, oh, well, that's no big deal. I don't believe in it, so it's not going to affect me. And one of the hardest pills to swallow is it doesn't necessarily matter what you believe, but the fact that they believe it is where it gets its power. And that's where it has an effect on you, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah. It's the intention behind it. Is that what you're saying? It's like
energy,
the intention.
Frequency, vibration.
Yeah. Have you seen those videos where people are like testing the waters? Like they test waters and they put like the strips in it. I don't know. The water will turn brown or it won't. It's like the alkalinity to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And somebody had tested some like spring water, like good healthy water, and then put like a liquid death next to it. Tested the liquid death. The liquid death was exactly what you think it is. It turned black, basically. It turned like a frothy green brown mess whenever they tested it, and it was gross. And so if that doesn't, they do that on purpose. That's what people are putting in their bodies. Anything that says liquid death, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who think it's cool. Even like, listen, my sister sent me a picture of my dad drinking a Monster drink, those Monster energy drinks. And I was like, he got a new car or something. And she was like, look, Dad's new car. And the only thing I wrote back was like, who let him drink that drink? I was like, I didn't even notice the car. I was like, get that out of his hand. Hey, he shouldn't be drinking that. But anyways, that's my opinion. It's for entertainment purposes only. But yeah, I was more concerned about that drink he had in his hand.
Well, not just that, from a spiritual aspect, from a health aspect. I mean, there have been reports of people, um, having heart events from stuff like that because
Yes.
they get too amped up.
Yes. That's right. That's right. Well, that's why I didn't want my dad drinking that. And plus, they say that it's got the meaning behind that. The M on the M, it's
Mhm,
actually like Hebrew, like numbers for like six six
mhm.
six. And I'm a kind of person, I don't believe that like 666 is a bad number personally. Like I don't. I think there's like a spiritual aspect to it, but it is also related to something that is bad. Okay, so it's like I don't know, to me, I've always thought there's just numbers, but some people do put that as like satanic or something like that too. So I don't know, but that's what it is, and it's the intent behind it, right, Mark? It's
Oh
the
yeah.
intent. There's actually an MMA fighter, like a UFC fighter, that he refuses to be photographed with that, with the can of that in front of him. When he goes out into, I don't, he may not still fight today, but when he would get into the octagon, he would like X out the advertisement for it and
Wow.
stuff, and yeah, yeah, yeah. He refused to give it any power. And I think that's what we need to start doing. If we're not, y'all aren't already doing that, we got to stop giving these things power over us, or the implied or conceived power that it might have, or whatever. Rebuke it. Just rebuke it, and don't drink it. Don't drink this stuff. And it's just for entertainment purposes only. But that's what I do. That's what I'm doing. I'm not telling y'all to do that, but I'm just saying that's what I don't drink that stuff. Hmm. I'm not perfect, but
Well,
there's certain things that I stay away from.
oh yeah. Well, it just seems like there's so many things that are weaponized against us that it just makes it hard to navigate sometimes. And because I mean, the reality of it is, you got all the stuff on the bad side, on the dark side, that's against us naturally. They'd
Hmm.
naturally come by that. I could deal with that. But when you got people on the good that are supposed to be on the good side, that, like, use the word of God and use different things against people to gaslight them, and you know um, come against people. I mean, I'm the main proponent, or a major proponent of, you know when you look at the word of God, or the Bible, whatever you want to call it. When you look at that, I'm a major proponent of letting it do its job. If it offends you, it's meant to. If it helps you, it's meant to. Whatever it does in your life, it's meant to do whatever it does. But when you have people who take it and use it for their own personal agenda,
Yeah,
it's not a good thing at all. And they
yeah,
need to do some heavy self-examination before they before they do that. Because,
yeah.
if you're a true believer of the word of God, then at some point you're going to have to answer for that. And the consequences of answering for that may not be what you think it's going to be. So those are just some things to consider
There are consequences.
for everything.
There's karma, right? Yeah.
Welcome to the Karma Cafe. You will be served what you deserve.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you will. Hey, well, it may take a while, but you get it. Everybody gets what they deserve at some point. We've all gotten good and bad karma. Um, some of us got way more bad than good. Just kidding.
Well,
Oh
you know,
man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't wish anything bad on anybody, but I do I've always been a strong proponent of helping people learn different things, and sometimes that learning comes through not so desirable ways, and it is what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a heavily breathing German Shepherd right here. I don't know if y'all can hear that. uh, she's over here breathing really hard by my microphone. So, but yeah, just we gotta just be a good person. Live authentically, become the best version of yourselves. I talk about that on my videos I put on Hunt Club all the time, and it's all about
Yeah,
empowering ourselves and being authentic about yourself, your life, and finding your true self, and standing for something. Don't fall for everything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand everybody's got a skeleton somewhere, and some people just, you know, may not have it in them to be good, but that doesn't mean that they can't change.
That's
But they
true.
have to want that change.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. We gotta want it. And yeah. Well, sometimes God puts us in a place to where we have no other choice but to, you know, ask for grace. Yeah. Thank you, Winkling, Ken. Yes. Thank God for grace. That's right. And work our way back up from. Got to hit rock bottom sometimes.
Oh
When
yeah,
you know what I mean. I've been there. We've all been there. We've all been
and that
there.
doesn't mean that I mean, a lot of people, and I've been accused of this before. You know, I'm sure people accuse me of being hateful or what have you, and that's the farthest thing from what's going through my mind
Oh
or
man,
my intention. I'm not hateful.
you just truthful. You're a
Yeah,
realist.
I
You're the
mean,
realist. You're the realist dude from the dirty South. You don't even really cuss or anything. You're a pretty good dude. Actually, you're a very good dude. I'm saying, but like, I mean, like, as far as
what?
manners go and stuff, I don't ever
No,
even hear you cuss. Really, I don't
I
think
try
I.
not to.
Well, we don't cuss on air. I might throw a word out there in private,
Yeah, every once in a
not
while.
on air. I'll say something occasionally. If you're not recording me, I'm just kidding. Talk about being authentic. Look, but listen. I was raised not to cuss in front of my elders and in front of company and out in public. Like I was raised with some good manners. Okay, and eating Vienna sausages and things like that. Okay, just a good old Southern girl. But I do have what is that word? What do they say in the chat tonight? Ethics, integrity, and all that kind of stuff. And so I
Morals.
morals, yes, and so I try to at least.
And the sad thing about it is, regretfully, those are qualities in humans that are not prevalent in this day and age.
Yeah, well, not everybody. Yes, not. I don't know. That's true. Just not everybody's raised the same way. That's all.
Freya's like, give me them treats.
Give me that true.
I don't
No,
want no
don't
love.
say. I am not. Do not say that word. She will hear you, and then I'll have to go give her some. That's
She's
right.
like, I don't want no love. I
Oh
want
my gosh.
something.
Listen, my audience knows what could happen. Okay, they've heard her whine before and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, they know. Y'all know.
Just
Yeah,
imagine this. Imagine this. I just said that word out loud, and I'm surprised my door is not to my office is not being torn down.
by dogs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
'cause
my gosh.
I've got two of them.
Yeah. I got to say, okay, so I love my audience so much. You guys are hilarious. Somebody on one of my last videos, somebody was like, I'd said, "Who to thunk it," right? And somebody,
Hmm.
and I just got to point this out because it's hilarious. Because I say things. Listen, I have a degree in English literature, y'all. I know how to talk. Okay, I really do. But sometimes I say things that are, they're just funny. I'm just being funny, right? I was like, "Who to thunk it?" Somebody wrote in the comments, they're like, "Thunk is not a word; it's think." And I want to say, shout out to whoever wrote a comment back, and they were like, "Well, you wrote it, so it's a word." You wrote it out. I laughed about that all day. I really did. I laughed about that. I didn't say anything, but I just laughed. So shout out to my audience and everybody who leaves comments after the shows. Y'all are hilarious, and I love you guys.
So with that, if you want to subject yourself to this,
okay.
not
Oh,
you,
God.
I'm just
not
saying,
me? Okay.
I'm talking about the audience. If the audience wants to subject themselves to this, we can break out the big words,
We can all break out the big words if we need to.
because if you want to fault somebody for using localisms and regionalisms and all that good stuff, we can go there.
I just snorted. Sorry, y'all. I just snorted on air. Did y'all hear that? I guess y'all did. Damn it. Okay. Yes, that's right. That's why I started off the show talking about Vienna sausages. I know. I saw it in the chat. I did make a post on Instagram today.
You forgot to
I said, say it with me. And I spelled it out like Vienna sausages. And then Larry Sharp said Vienna. So,
Vienna.
Yes. And this is the thing. Let's embrace who we are and where you're from. Okay. And I learned that back when I was in college, and we were learning, different dialects and regional dialects and stuff, and learning about them and learning the science behind it, basically is what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And so I found pride in the way I was raised and my family spoke. And I had never done that. I spent like my entire childhood trying not to sound like a country bumpkin. Okay. Cause that's what I was. Okay. But I tried not to sound like that. Now as I've gotten older, I've embraced it. I really embrace it. I still don't sound as country as I normally would around my family. Okay. But it's okay. We can say things like, we can say, yeah, the potted meat. Thank you, Ken. We eat potted possum. I don't eat it, but my dad always said potted possum. I think he would take the labels off of potted meat and change the label, and it said potted possum to be funny. And so we had a cabinet of potted possum at my house when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's.
Potted meat. What is potted meat, anyways? That's my question. What the heck is potted meat?
You don't want to know.
It's the same thing that's in Vienna sausages, probably, but it's just not in a sausage form.
Yeah.
It's spreadable on crackers with the jelly.
You got me thinking I need to go in there and check and see if we got some in the cupboard.
Get some mustard and saltines. Absolutely. Embrace it. Hey, embrace your heritage. If you ate potted possum, gosh, I am giving way too much away to the public tonight. Y'all know I had potted possum in my cabinet when I was a kid. It wasn't really potted possum, y'all. It's just a fake label my dad put on everything, on his stuff. So we actually did have jars of pig's feet on my counter when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My dad loves pickled pig's feet. Still does. Yeah. Pickled eggs. Deviled eggs. Yeah. Pickled eggs. Anyways. Smell weird. But yeah. I wonder where I come from. I'm talking about roots. It's a different kind of roots.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. Moondog cusses like a sailor. I've had that comment up for a while. Yes, I bet you do, Moondog. I bet you do. I think most of us do probably cuss occasionally. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. They say that it's easier to trust a person who says cuss words than someone who doesn't. I find that to be true too sometimes.
So here's something to think about.
Don't make me snort. Don't do it.
Here's something to think about. I'm the realest of the real. When I'm on screen just streaming.
Oh man.
Imagine the conversation when I'm not.
Oh man.
Ooh, Lordy.
We have fun. We talk about a lot of cool stuff, though. We do have a good time. It's Saturday night, y'all. There's no other place I'd rather be than right here, right now, with you guys tonight and hanging out with you, Mark. That was fun. This has been a fun show. We got deep. We went deep down the rabbit hole tonight.
Oh yeah.
Went real deep. That was a That was wild. That was these conversations just get more and more weird and more interesting, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
In a good way, in a very good way. Julie says Cryptid Huntress after dark. You might get a snort. That's right. And hear me talking about potted meat and pickled pig's feet and stuff. But yeah. Well, any final thoughts, Mark? I think we kind of hit up some final thoughts. Anything else before we go tonight? This has been awesome.
Well, I would say my final thoughts is probably don't be scared and roll hard.
Roll hard. Yeah. Don't be scared. And get your toilet paper and storable foods. Little potted meat. Potted meat actually is good for an emergency. It probably would taste good if you didn't have meat for if you didn't have any meat for a couple weeks. You'll eat the potted meat, y'all. Don't you think you'd eat potted meat? I mean, you probably eat potted meat no matter what.
Yeah, it's.
I see you eating it probably after you get off the show tonight.
Well, probably not because I don't think we have any. But
you would.
I would.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably been a while since we've had any of that here.
Yeah.
I know we've had some Wiener sausages.
Oh, man, y'all go to if y'all are wondering what Wiener sausages are, go to my Instagram page. It's actually Vienna sausages, in case you guys are not knowing what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm just saying, listen, if there were to be some kind of God forbid, some kind of food shortage or things crap hit the fan, potted meat would look pretty good after a while if you didn't have anything else to eat. So I might stock up on some just in case. Get that jelly on top. You open the can. Oh, man.
You know what I do?
What do you do?
I actually run it under hot water before I open it.
Yeah.
To liquefy that.
Oh,
and then
man.
When I crack it open, I pour that off. Because that's just too much fat. Because that's all it is. Gelatinized fat.
Yeah. I like fat. Listen, I will eat some fat. Okay. That's the best part of a steak. It's got the most flavor. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Now I'll eat it sometimes on a steak if it's not too much. You know. But I don't like a whole lot. This is my preference.
Yeah. Oh well. FAP says he's never coming over for dinner. Dang it. Dang it. What? Don't go to a cookout at Jessica's. What are y'all talking about? I think you would love it. I think a lot of y'all would really enjoy it. You don't knock it till you try it.
Get you some of that.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Space tater salad.
Look, I'm going to have, you know what? That'd be a perfect Halloween dish or Thanksgiving dish or Christmas dish. Space taters. Okay. And it's going to be potatoes with fingerling potatoes. Those little things coming out of them, like that meteorite. That's a good idea, actually. That's a good idea. It's actually a type of fungus. So I wonder if it's edible. The devil's fingers, it doesn't sound like it'd be edible.
Probably not.
The devil's fingers, it looks like a potato with the fungus coming out of it.
Could be. Yeah. I don't know.
Chicken fingers. Thank you.
Corned beef hash.
Cheeky Blue Nose. I am all about the chicken fingers and tater logs, Vienna sausages, pickled pig's feet, and pickled eggs. Pickled eggs, all that. Yeah.
Well, now I could eat some deviled eggs too.
Me too. That's my big thing too. I could eat those all day for sure. Yes. Golly, we're getting country. All right. Well, I guess it's time to go, y'all. Baked potato space buds. Yes, thank you, Jane. Well, y'all, this has been a really fun show tonight, and I'm so blessed and happy that you came on with me tonight, Mark.
Well, thanks for having me again.
Of course, you're welcome anytime. You're always welcome. Yeah, it keeps our Saturday nights interesting, for sure. Oh my gosh. Well, where can people find you? Do you you got a YouTube channel and your website and all that. Would you like to tell the audience about it?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, and I've got cryptidville.com is my website. Don't really have a ton of content on there because, I'll admit I am not a podcaster.
You just come
But
on my podcast sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I do have a little bit of content on there, but it's just not my thing. So yeah, that's where you can find my online content. Um, and I have links on there to where you can email me if you want to contact me for anything. And that's pretty much that.
Yes. You can put in your order for a potted possum. Go to cryptidville.com.
Potted possum.
I'm just kidding. I probably, that would be kind of fun to make some labels though.
Actually, I'm very possum friendly because,
yeah,
I don't advocate eating the possums.
I don't either. I'm sorry, y'all. I was not advocating eating possum, y'all. Possums are sweet. I like them.
And what's weird about possums is if you pick one up, they'll hiss and snarl and act like they're fixing to tear you up, but they don't. It's all a ruse.
Pro tip.
It's a defense mechanism that they try to use to get you to put them back down, to give the impression that they're going to bite you. And they look like they got rabies, but actually possums are, from what I understand, they're immune to rabies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also immune to snake bite as well. And they love to eat ticks. So
yeah,
do not, if you can help it, do not harm the possums because they're actually working in your favor.
They are. And they carry their babies. Are they marsupials?
Yeah, they're marsupials.
They're marsupials. They have little pouches with their baby. And they also carry their babies on their backs too. They're really cute. Yeah. Yeah. We have a great possum story. When my brother was still alive, he was a teenager. I was probably in his 20s by then. He was either in high school or college, can't remember. But he woke up in the middle of the night one night and went to the bathroom, and there was a possum in the bathroom. Somehow a possum had gotten in the house. It snuck in the door. It was the door, the bathroom by the back door, basically. And I believe, I don't know if he just shut it in the bathroom or what, but I remember my mother finding it the next day, and it was startling, I think. But yeah, I think he just kind of shut the door and left it in there, and it scared my mom the next day, big time.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we have possums here. Okay, but anyways, yeah, we are not advocating for anyone to eat a possum, y'all. This is for entertainment purpose only, and stick to the Vienna sausages. All right. Well, y'all, this has been a great show. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Everybody that's in the live chat, everyone listening. And I want to thank everybody who gave super stickers tonight and who also, who also gave memberships to the Hunt Club. Y'all are the best. I got Deb D. Thank you so much. And Midwest Night Watchers, Nathan Davis. And thank you guys so much for that. It means the world to me, y'all. And if you guys would like to become a member of the Hunt Club, please hit the join button on the homepage of my YouTube channel right there and become a member. And I put exclusive content out there for that. And thank you to all my Patreon members and just everybody for being here. And Mark, thank you for being here. Y'all, please go over and subscribe to Cryptid on YouTube and visit his website. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope y'all learned a little something tonight. I always do. And I will see you guys back here on Monday at 1 p.m. And we will have a great show for you guys on Monday. Y'all, I got tomorrow off. I'm going to try to sleep late and wake up to some potted possum and eggs. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. All right, Mark. We'll see you next time, all right?
All right.
Y'all be safe out there, and we'll see you later. Bye, y'all.